put them in the same bag. They're like, this guy, these donuts aren't making it out of the parking lot.
Oh, it's holiday smile cookies, eh?
Yeah, they do holiday smile
How
cookies
often
this
are
week.
you going to the donut shop and ordering 2 donuts for yourself?
Not often. But if I'm hungry,
It
and that's
seems
going to be lunch.
It seems that's what you're eating for lunch?
I've done it.
Oh, man.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 11 picks against the spread. Cust Corner, maybe a twofer on the free money this week. We'll see about that, but a reminder to all of you to play in the Listeners League. That's down in the description right now. I just got the link. So as many spots that can be available are available to you, the good people, in a rake-free DraftKings tournament. Smash like and sub to the channel while you're here as well. Plus, the League Safe Pick'em contest is still going. There's still $1,000 given away every single week, completely free to play. So hit the description, download the League Safe app, go to games, and do the 10 questions. It takes like 30 seconds, could win like $400, something like that. Because Lord knows, after we're all probably eliminated from Survivor now, as I am after last week, we need something to do to fill the time. So that's something you can do. The League Safe picks, hit that in the description right now. Geoff Fienberg, bad week for you.
You had a bad week, Pat.
I know.
I
looked at the record. I assume that means not good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple great weeks, had a couple nice Thursday meetups, envelopes, but fortunately, this one's going back the other way. As a young pup, Cam Stewart taught me a lesson. His would be more like, when things went well, he would make sure to go to the premium grocery store, not like, and stock up on meat, for the meat fridge. But for me, that was getting pretty much all my kids' holiday presents, my niece and nephew's holiday gifts over. So won't be a total loss, but it was a total kick in the nuts. And I didn't even bet the Chargers last week. Told you guys there were 3 games I liked on the Sunday slate. They all lost. I said, if those games lose, I'm going big on the Jets. And I did that. Responsibly, but I did it.
When you said that Cam had given you an advice as a young pup, I thought it'd be like, harass the lady at Subway for extra meatballs on your sub, or some sort of advice like that.
Yeah. I will say the first time Cam ever sent me on a mission, it was to Burger King about 2.5 blocks away from our office. And it was Whopper Wednesdays. He wanted 2 Whoppers, and he wanted them to run it through the garden twice. And I didn't know what that means, but it means double up on every single topping. So yeah, that was the first lesson Cam taught me of many. But others were, when you make a big score, like, just make sure you have something to show for it before you give it back. So I did that.
Yeah, I usually do the same thing. I usually have a set amount that I don't want in my account. I mean, not that it's a huge problem for me if I go over a certain amount, but it's usually after hitting a golf winner or some big parlay winner or something like that I'll immediately deposit back to what I normally have in my account, just so I can bank that for when I have to redeposit in the future, that I don't feel like I'm just so down throughout the course of the year. But here we are. The coin is in studio. Paul's behind the camera. And, of course, on the line, it is a Tim and a Cust.
Tim and August.
That's not my name.
But it might be.
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know.
Feeling pretty good. The Jets once again lost no ground in the AFC East for the second straight week, despite losing.
Well, technically, they lost a half game.
They did lose a half game, but they still have 2 versus Miami to play. So that's
But
the one team that
probably feels better.
The first message I got this morning was from Dad saying all the AFC East went 0-3. I was like, yeah, he's right. I mean, that looks like, as I said last night, you just need to get the AFC East off of primetime and solo games. Every single time the AFC East have been in a primetime or a solo game, they have not played well in any of those games. They have not been good performances. Get us off.
At least the Miami Chiefs game was somewhat interesting to watch. It wasn't a great game, and Miami didn't play well.
The Miami Eagles game is the same way. They didn't play to their potential.
No, they didn't, but the game itself, Kansas City against Miami, was a very watchable game.
Oh, Jets-Bills on Monday Night Football was a watchable game. It was a bad game. Last night's game was highly watchable. It's a bad game.
Yeah.
Just get us off. Get all of us off prime time. We don't deserve to be there. I don't want us, any of us there. Get us off.
I thought you were about to walk onto the stage just looking for Bill's credit.
It's coming.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
He
I
doesn't
have
want
a theory about the Bills actually this week, and really this week is the hinge game for them. I feel like if they win, they could bounce back and be decent. If they lose, I think the floor could fall through. We're talking at like a 6-win team maybe if they lose this week.
I was talking
But if they win, I think they could be right back in the saddle because you look at those other teams in the AFC, and like none of those teams in the wild card are world beaters. So outside of one other team in the AFC Central maybe, but I don't know. There's still a decent path there. And if you have 5 losses or fewer, you're alive in the playoffs. I believe that.
What team is it in the AFC Central? Is it the Chicago White Sox?
You know what I meant. I think at this point, 2 of Cleveland, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, 2 of them are locked into the playoffs. So there's 2 wild card spots available for everyone else, and Buffalo would be right in the thick of that hunt. Like they're better than Indianapolis, they're better than the Raiders, better than the Chargers, they're better than they're about the same quality as the Jets or Chargers. Anyway, like they have every opportunity to get in.
Yeah, they're most likely not dead as of right now. Although I saw their odds at DraftKings Sportsbook are up to 2-1 to make the playoffs right now, so that's not. Well. If you look at their schedule over the next few weeks, you can see why. But I talked to Paul, and I think I mentioned this to you on Sunday when we were watching the games, just randomly talking about the Bills. So I want to see what you have to think about it, Geoff. That the moment Josh Allen hurt his UCL against the Jets last year, he's kind of been garbage.
Sure.
That's a bit monocausal.
I don't know.
No,
he was playing great. He was the leader of the MVP race, and then he hurt his elbow in that game, and then he didn't take any time off. He played through it, and he's just been not good since.
Yeah, but they're having games where he's been phenomenal also between that. So I don't know what to make of that. He hasn't been consistently bad. There've just been moments of it. I guess there's been less of a desire to run. The numbers show that. And I guess defenses are aware of that. And now they're essentially maybe Pat saying, well, Josh isn't running more than 3 times a game. So we'll play it safe. We'll let him beat us by hitting his quota on those plays. But he's not going to do it 7-8 times a game like he did it when he was dominant. A lot of the criticism is fair, but probably the hyperbole is a little too much as it relates to Allen in this moment. My concern is that the offensive line is healthy and the weapons are there, right? Other than Dawson Knox, but Kincaid's an upgrade. So what are we doing?
I mean,
The defense actually played well enough yesterday to win that game.
Well, I'm talking specifically about Allen. I can't.
Yeah, but like the Bills' offense is pretty bad right now. But last night they showed up enough that they should have won that game.
Yeah, they should have been down 20-0 quickly, but it was
Allen threw the game away.
Well, they
fumbles and interceptions. He single-handedly cost his team the game.
They solved all their problems, though. They fired Ken Dorsey, so now the new offense, it's Joe Brady who's calling the plays for the Bills now. Maybe he won't have plays in it where it's like, hey, Josh, you should throw to the other team. And then, all the problems are solved.
Yeah, Ken Dorsey was a sacrificial lamb. He is the least. He's not their problem. Their problem is that Josh Allen is like, I don't know, a mix between Brett Favre and Zach Wilson. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, why would it took them way too long to totally commit to the run, and look how dominant they were when they finally did. And maybe that was
he was acting. That was the coach's. That was McDermott's decision to act like Bill Belichick and not put James Cook in the game for a quarter and a half when he's the only good running back they have. That's not the fault of the offensive coordinator that the coach needlessly took a piece off the chessboard.
Latavius was running the ball well. He was averaging like 7 yards a carry at some points.
Latavius is awful. Compared to James Cook. James Cook's a good running back.
Sure, but it's not like hey, James Cook wasn't playing. They couldn't run the ball. They were running the ball well while he was on the bench.
And the commentators made the point last night. Every time like James Cook was the driving force behind their first touchdown drive and the last touchdown drive. Like he was making that offense work in a lot of ways last night. He was the straw that was stirring the drink.
Yeah, considering like you said, he got his stats. Considering he got a quarter and a half off, are pretty impressive.
Oh, fantastic! Like he played amazingly last night. He was there. He was electric. He was their
On
best
the
player.
other side, Russell's making Russell Seattle plays again.
Russell is back to being a decent in a league where there are so few good quarterbacks. He's now playing well enough.
But to me, the ultimate sign is, I mean, sure, that great Sutton touchdown. He evades the pressure. He gets it out. He gets it up there, gives a receiver a chance. Receiver makes a play. Bravo. For me, it's like the little rinky-dink stuff, like the shovel passes, that are on third downs that are moving sticks that you feel like just evaporated. Or maybe they were just in 3rd and 12, so those 6-yard pickups on third down still didn't mean something when he was doing a cute little shovel pass to evade, to get out of a sack or pressure in the past. But I mean, Tim, he kind of wanted to stand on the claim that once the Jets beat Denver, that battle was over. So
was.
I guess he feels he doesn't have to take any culpability.
No, I felt like once that team gave up 101 points in back-to-back weeks from the Jets and Dolphins and were thoroughly humiliated, I was like, okay, I've had enough now.
But
I really don't care.
Side,
I don't care about that team anymore. Good to them. I don't really care. I've got other fish to fry.
I don't know.
Doesn't Sean Payton get credit in the sense that if he took over a total shit show, that shit show was still a shit show in September, like anyone who takes over the job of someone who was bad at it before them.
I agree. He's done a much better job in the last 6 weeks than he did in the
Bills
first 6.
and the Chiefs. The Chargers don't have 2 wins like that in 2 years.
They don't. And their
they
schedule
might have wins, but they don't have quality wins.
Their schedule is a test down. They've got the Vikings this week, so that's pretty easy, and the Browns. But now then they have the Browns, Texans, Chargers, Lions. After that, those are tough
Chargers
games
finished
now.
last place in the division.
That's a real option at this point, and I hate to say that, but I mean, it happens.
It's possible. I don't think it's probable,
but it's possible at this point. It's possible given your
and they
schedule.
haven't played Denver yet, and I swear to God, I don't think we're sweeping Denver anymore. I might have a month ago, but not anymore. No chance in hell Chargers are going to sweep Denver. No chance.
Would you say better chance to sweep Denver or better chance to get swept by Denver?
I think neither. But I would lean towards the.
I was really asking Geoff on that one.
He's not going to answer.
I mean, anything is possible, but you guys have known me long enough that when shit once they cross that wins threshold, I cheer to lose. I'll cheer for a 4th place schedule and 6 spots ahead in a draft. That's how pathetic I am. But they're not there yet, so I don't cheer for that yet. But it'll come soon, maybe this week.
It is funny to think about Denver, and specifically Russell Wilson. He has 18 touchdown passes this year. He's passed what he's done last year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Sean Payton wasn't wrong about Nathaniel Hackett, especially after watching the Jets moving the ball, yet failing to ever get into the end zone.
Well, it's not Hackett's fault that the team keeps holding. It's not Hackett's fault that Zach stepped out at the 3-yard line. It's not Hackett's fault that they keep false starting. It's not Hackett's fault that Zach threw a god-awful game-crushing interception. Is he doing a great job? No, not really. He's not. But the problem is not the coaching staff. The problem is the players are being boneheaded on the field. Let them take the responsibility for that.
Let's see here. They're still playing Delvin. 4 carries for Delvin Cook. That's too many, Tim.
And 2 of them looked electric. I was like, I even commented on Twitter, those are the best 2 touches he's had all season.
Because they weren't for negative yards?
I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's America's game of the week for whatever reason. Jets-Bills are the marquee Sunday afternoon game. I'm looking forward to it. It is a hinge game for both teams. The loser is 6 wins, you're done.
I hated you guys so much. Number
You should've.
87, Uzama. I feel like I'm not that guy. I make my bets. I bet my losers. I'll take anything that happens. He could pay me out. He single-handedly, I feel like, cost the Jets.
When Zach stepped out at the 3 instead of scoring, I was like, okay, well, that's it then. This is not going to be a touchdown.
But I'll tell you that the drive, the call that changed the whole game, Tim. It's maddening me to think about it again. But the Jets never recovered from this penalty. It was the double engage. They called the illegal block chop block.
Oh,
I
and
don't
that
feel
was
like
a
Becton was even
BS
engaged
call,
with that
too.
player.
Oh, Becton wasn't even engaged with
He
him.
made a great third down pass to Gibson.
Oh.
And here's the thing: that penalty took the Jets back to like their 10, Pat, and they could never recover. They never got the field position back, and the Raiders didn't even do anything. They just started their next 3 drives at the 50, and it was just inevitable. But shout out to Tim, Notre Dame mayor. Shout it out.
As many people pointed out, that Tim's pick to not score the first touchdown in that game, Mitchell Myers of the Oakland Raiders ended up scoring the first touchdown at 25-1. That's awesome. Paul and I both won money.
I'm very happy for you.
DraftKings 28-1 was like top of market. It was good on you. It took a little bit of the bleed, but
I had people offering me to buy my McDonald's and asking for my Venmo account. I was like, you are barking up the wrong tree here. I don't know how to use those cryptocurrencies.
Venmo isn't.
but yeah, the Jets never recovered that field position of that penalty. They never recovered from,
and he wasn't engaged.
I agree.
They got a lot of penalties they deserved on Sunday night, but they most definitely didn't deserve that, and it ruined the game. But they did it. But they had a chance to win at the end, and Zach did what he always does, which is he threw a terrible, crushing interception. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't feel. I wasn't even sad. I was like, I've seen this enough. Like, it happens. Get us off prime time. I hate this.
I don't know what it's like. How do I put this? We both lose games in the complete opposite way, but man, it's frustrating, Tim. I tell
Very
you.
frustrating. But you get fun and sadness. I just get
That's
sadness.
true. I get fun and sadness. I do.
But, at least your coach, like my coach, is a defensive guru, has put together quite a defense there.
Yes, that is.
And like my game, your game turned. And Pat and I talked about this live. Your game turned on a god-awful penalty call against the headhunter when he didn't do anything wrong.
What? But he hit it. He
hit in the shoulder. It was not Pat and I were watching it.
No, I don't think that
is a
turned the game
reputation.
because no. I'll tell you why that didn't turn the game.
They were going to score a touchdown on that drive.
No, that ended in a punt.
Yeah, but it
put
flipped
that back.
It seemed like it just, I don't know, it deflated the team.
Oh, like it would have been an actual. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I felt like you guys had something cooking there, and that deflated everything.
Yeah, dude, they scored 5 straight. Do you know? Again, there's always a stat. Like the joke with Trump, there's always a tweet like that can contradict whatever he's saying now. Sunday night, there is always a stat. I think we're the first team ever to score touchdowns on our final 5 drives of the game and lose. Like something ridiculous like that. There's always a stat that goes with our losses, usually.
I feel bad for you. I do. You're paying way too much money to defensive players who aren't mattering in big moments.
I'll tell you, at this point, I don't even blame the players. They're so out of position, Tim, that this guy, he must be a bright guy. He's a swindler. He could sell you on the monorails. He's smart enough to concoct his plans. But in all seriousness, like all football coaches or people that get to that level, like I don't doubt he's a smart guy. How the Chargers manage 2 minutes and timeouts, like he clearly knows how to do that. And I'm sure he's great on a whiteboard and could explain every blade of grass and what the premise is and who's supposed to be where. But the other half of coaching is communicating with your players. And having your players understand something or make it simple enough for them to understand. But like, they're not just getting beat on plays, Tim. It's like guys are run like wide open. Like there's no contesting of anything. And then they can run like a trap draw on a trap run on a 4th and 5. And we're so dickless. We don't have a clue.
The Montgomery run, yeah, that was not a good sign.
We're just being toyed with.
Isn't that the same play that the Jags ran against them last year in the playoffs?
No, that was a different play, Pat. That was a Gibbs. That was one of the Gibbs. There are multiple instances. No, That was more of an end around where they did like
That's right.
It looks like a pyramid or triangle of players in the backfield.
A wishbone.
That was a different play.
So is he done, Geoff? Is this it? Is Staley done? Is this the last year? You called Lynn well in advance. You knew he was done. You called Mike McCoy.
Yeah, I mean,
you knew
here's
he
the
was done.
thing.
Is this it?
Yeah, it probably is. I don't know how. I mean, I'll be honest with you. They should he should be fired today because it's the same story. Like, we've lost so many games where when the quarterback has played like an MVP. Now, he doesn't do it every week, but there are games he plays like an MVP and we lose, and it is totally unacceptable. And it's the same mistakes. There can't be a team that's lost more games while scoring over 30 points than us in this window. But I believe there's an actual opportunity. I don't know what Kellen Moore is, but I think this could be an opportunity for the Chargers to see what he is. Like, they're having questions. Maybe he can be a head coach. Maybe that'd be a horrible decision. I think you can fire Brendan Staley right now and see what kind of coach Kellen Moore is. Now, I don't know what he could possibly do to help the defense other than schematic, but I would literally bring in Rex. Like, I would do anything for anybody now.
Hold on. Did you say you want to bring in Rex Ryan?
No, I literally mean like
defense?
Rex Ryan to coach our defense would probably be an upgrade. And that's the scariest, saddest indictment of what is happening.
Do you think he would just do you think
he
he
a good defensive coach?
Do you think Rex Ryan would just stand on the opposite end zone of the opposing quarterback and just smile, and then like the glare from his teeth would get to him?
Yeah, sure. I like Wade Phillips. Like, I'm just thinking of anyone who was good at coaching defense a decade. I don't even know. I just mean nothing would be better. I mean, in my dream scenario of happiness would be that they actually would hire Philip Rivers to coach this team.
Can't get
That'll
Wade
fix
But
Phillips.
I've never
defense.
seen Brandon
That'll
Staley
fix your
get mad
defense.
at anybody. I've never seen him show emotion. I don't know what he does when trying to communicate to these guys about what they're not doing. But it is so bad. I like wanted the Lions, the first play of their game-winning drive. I wanted that thing to go to the house because then maybe we get the ball back and go for a 2-point conversion on our touchdown. But they're like, it's a 4th and 12. Maybe we can get off the field and try to win the game. They get 10 yards. They go for it on 2 yards. We're playing like a zone 7 yards off the ball on 4th and 2 with the game on the line. Like,
The only way to beat Goff is to heat him up, and they just didn't do it enough.
who?
To beat Goff, you got to heat him up.
We didn't even get there. We didn't even get what a fuck. And he's getting feisty in the press conferences. It was a nice exchange.
Which, which I think is strange because, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, was he not the DC for the Rams the year they went to the Super Bowl with Goff?
Oh, shit. They had Aaron Donald and they're the best defensive linemen of our era. And that year, in that moment, the best cornerback in football. Oh, man, what a great defensive guru. Like, look at like Kevin like other coaches are making adjustments. Things haven't gone well, and they finding ways to fix things. This guy is just a freaking imbecile. He's an imbecile. Yeah, there's gonna be a heart-to-heart this summer. I promise you. It's gonna be had. It is going to be had. And Pat, I want to remind people that think I'm crazy that how I open these doors is like my icebreaker was telling Spanos about doesn't Mike McCoy look like Ellen DeGeneres? I made him laugh really hard. That joke made him laugh really hard. As long as Spanos Jr. is which he's kind of a little older than us, so he would know that Simpsons era. He was probably in college then. Like he'll know. And I won't lie, that was me. I was Mayor Quimby dancing on the front row. I was dancing on the front row. Okay, that's like me at my daughter's wedding before she marries a jackass and ends up divorced. And I think this is a good guy. That was me after the pitch from Monorail dipshit.
All right, let's recap last week. Unfortunately, you won't get Wade Phillips. He has a better job as head coach of the Houston Roughnecks of the XFL. So I don't think he's leaving that to go to the Chargers to be the DC. You had a tough week. You were 4-10 against the spread. That drops you to 77 and 72. Still 5 games above 500. Cust was 6-8. Made a little mini run at the end. Got Sunday night and Monday night correct to dig himself out of the hole. 66 and 81 for Cust. Me and the coin both went 7-7. The coin continues to lead at 79 and 70. I'm 78 and 71. I got launched from Survivor with the Bengals. That sucks. Cust and I won our Superlocks. And Cust, your 6-point free money teaser lost like 3 legs of it. It was a tough week for the teaser.
Yeah, at least Baltimore lost. But what's my super lock record?
6-4.
Okay.
Same
All
as
right.
mine. I was 1-4. Now I'm 6-4. Heating up with the Superlocks.
Yeah, I hit the last couple. Feeling pretty good about those.
Let's get to Thursday night football. We got a very watchable Thursday night game. Does your boycott continue here, Tim, of Bengals
No,
versus
I
Ravens?
recommend you watch this game for the little bit that it'll be a competitive game before Baltimore wins comfortably.
So Baltimore 3.5. You like Baltimore?
Yeah. Looks like the Bengals are about to get ping-ponged here, doesn't it?
Why?
Well, they lost last week, a critical game, and then they're about to lose another critical game and be in real tough shape.
I mean, I like Cincinnati here to at least cover the number. I don't know if they're going to win the game, 3.5. It's not that it's a lot, but it's an AFC North game. The Bengals really need it at this point, and they just put a poor showing. I'm curious to see how injured Trey Hendrickson is. It doesn't look like he's going to play. Not sure about T. Higgins. He may be on decoy duty, but when it comes down to it, Burrow needs a win. Got to get you a win. I like Cincinnati here, Geoff.
Yeah, this is at least the best primetime matchup we've had in a while. I lean Baltimore. I am afraid of this hook, though. And NFC North betting laws probably say that hook is so important you accept it. And the outs that taking the +3 has, but maybe that's like an old school NFC North, like ugly looking Steelers Browns game mindset, or the older version of the Ravens. These guys, big game. I'm gonna go against it. I'm gonna lay this hook here with Baltimore, boys. It was controversial when I took Baltimore over Cincy at the beginning of the year, so I guess I'll just stick with that flag, and I'll lay the hook to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to really enjoy to watch this game. At least I hope I do. I hope it's not like 10-9 or something like that. I think that's what was the score of their playoff game last year when Huntley was playing?
Like 21-14, 20, like something like it. It was a very low scoring game.
Yeah, and then one of those was that huge, like from the 1 yard line
Fumble
defensive
return.
return. Yeah. Which was
They got
exciting.
big.
Go ahead.
Stanley, right, is gonna Stanley and the corner are gonna be out for the Ravens, are they not?
I haven't seen the full injury report. That was the assumption, but I've been really wrong on a lot of these injuries throughout the course of the season.
Am I mixing up the corner? Or am I forgetting the corner? Or am I just thinking about Lattimore, who's not even a Raven?
Well, it was Marlon Humphreys who got hurt, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Hump Daddy? Not going to play?
Yeah, podcaster Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, he has a calf strain that he could miss this week. He could gut it out, but he's not going to be 100%. So that could be, just decreasing how good your defense is going to be by just a little bit. Could open the door for someone who, I mean, if they have to protect Burrow a little bit better than what we saw against Houston, which was really surprising, but it's not like Cincinnati blew the game. Houston played really well to win that game. And Cincinnati still had its chance to come back and win, even being in a hole a little bit early on after Houston jumped out to a lead. So I think it's a nice rebound spot, just playing against it. It feels like everyone is very content with saying, well, Cleveland's D is great. It was a bit of an aberration, but if Deshaun Watson, Tim, can go perfect against you in an entire half, I feel like Burrow has a chance out here.
He does have a chance, but the Ravens defense is significantly the best unit on the field, as we talked about in that Raiders Jets game. By far, the Ravens defense is the best unit on the field of the 4 units. That's enough to scare the heck out of you if you're taking the Bengals in this game. Not that they can't overcome it, but I expect the Ravens defense to just wreak havoc in the backfield. And, if Lamar is, as I think he is, the MVP this season, or should be considered as such, what an awesome opportunity for him to really plant his flag in the ground. I like the Ravens here a lot.
Again,
And a win on Thursday presents a great opportunity for the Ravens, win or lose. It presents them with a mini bye.
Before, who do they play on prime time
check your
next
schedule.
week,
Who do the
Jeffrey?
Ravens play
Who
next
do they
week?
play next
who
week
does the
on
team
prime
on a
time?
mini bye play? It might be the team that has already played in the Widowmaker spot this year and played a game that they lost by a field goal by on the weekend with the team off a bye. Well, they played on Monday night on the East Coast. I don't know. Is that even possible for a team to be in a position off of playing someone in a mini bye? Oh, it appears so. Giggle away, boys.
Not fair. I said to you earlier in the week, it's not fair.
Don't the Chargers make this up in December though?
There's one game. It's cost us our season. Don't worry.
That's it. You're right. You're right,
already.
Jeff. It is the schedule's fault that the Chargers suck. You're right.
No. I'm not.
No, but don't stack the
that.
decks.
I'm not saying that, but it's they're on the end of season metrics as shown by like a Warren Sharp graph show. They're on such an embarrassing side of the spectrum of what's supposed to be an attempt at fair and balanced.
Yeah, just right.
scheduling.
He's
That's
completely
all.
right.
It's like undeniable at this point that I now have to like steal Tim's Park Avenue bit.
Keep making excuses. It's funny that I always hear about the worst fucking teams in the league every year. It's the schedule's fault. It's just not that they're not.
No,
good.
it's not the schedule's fault. You think the Chargers would win these games on margin ever, but it would just be nice to not have to play a good team with that'd just be weird. It'd be nice to not have to play your biggest rival in the Widowmaker spot. Like that would be nice one
That's a
time.
fact.
That's all.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland kicks off the Sunday slate. The Browns are 4-point favorites at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. At home, 36.5 is the total in the game. Reminder to everyone out there, Tambo is playing in the King of the Beach live final this week down in Miami. So he's not going to be on the Friday show. Got my guy James, the Degenerate 75, on the show to break down DraftKings with me. But there is some interest for you, the viewers out there. Tambo's giving away 10% of whatever he wins in this tournament. So last place is $5,000. So, and he said he'd add on 100. So at least $600 is going to you, the good people out there. If he wins, it's $300,000. So he could be giving away $30,000. So he's going to split it up 6 ways. And the way that you can get into the draw to become eligible to potentially win $5,000 before, Christmas, which would be super great. I would assume most people would want $5,000 just sent to them for doing very little. You need to like and subscribe to this show and the Mayo Media Network. The big thing, the way to get into the draw is subscribe. Set your auto downloads, rate and review 5 stars, the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Now, if you've already done this as an audio listener, might as well do it again. Freshen it up a little bit. Get it back to the top. Say, go Tambo. That way we know that you're trying to get into the draw. But if you are a video viewer and you're not subscribed on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and you own a phone, chances are that you have these apps on your phone anyway. So go and set it to auto downloads, do the review, and that way you can get into the draw as well. All right? You do it twice. Do it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You get 2 ballots into that draw. So let's go. Let's root on Tambo this week in Miami. Hopefully he can bring home the $300,000 and qualify for the Tournament of Champions, which I think $2 million is up top. So go Tambo. All right? Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Do we just keep riding Pittsburgh here because they'll find some goofy way to cover the spread?
Yes, we're teasing them up. They're the first part of a teaser. A 7-point teaser at that, actually.
7-point teaser. Okay, so you're getting them to 11.
I am. I don't understand this spread. I think it's way too fat. I'm not sure I understand how Baltimore can only be laying 3.5 into Cincinnati, but the Browns should lay 4 into the Steelers. That confuses me quite a bit.
I could explain that one to you.
Well, fair enough. I'll give you that opportunity. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's foolish. I think the Steelers, I think I said on the live show, I'm picking the Steelers every week until they give me a reason not to. So I sort of I would be taking Pittsburgh here at any number. But the 4 gives a nice opportunity to get through a lot of key numbers on a teaser. So you can tell you doing that too.
So what is it? I mean, I believe that the reason the spread is what it is because Pittsburgh continues. They've been outgained in every game so far this year. It hasn't mattered because they keep winning games, but with magic, I think. But this line is just saying like it can't happen every single week. Although we've seen teams do this every single week throughout the course of a season, then it hits them in the weirdest ways at the weirdest times.
We said this about the Vikings all last year, but it kept happening all the way to the playoffs.
I literally just said that.
Well, you didn't mention Minnesota, but you said it.
Vikings were actually talented.
Pittsburgh's talented. Pittsburgh's got, in my opinion,
doing nothing right.
They have the guy who's got
Pickett can't lose. He can't lose.
But they're talented. They've got the guy who's like second or third in betting odds to win Defensive Player of the Year.
No, he's their best player, but the Vikings had a lot. I don't know. Vikings had Justin Jefferson and a quarterback who could throw the football.
Are you saying that Kenny Pickett can't throw a football because his hands are too tiny and he can't grip it?
I don't know what is going on there, but
keep picking against them then.
I'm not picking. It's not doing
anybody any good.
When do I'm not constantly.
I'm not saying you, Jeffrey. I'm saying the proverbial you. Like people can continue to pick against the Steelers if they want.
I am blindly just laying both favorites in these AFC North clashes. Well, like I said, the laws of football betting AFC North clashes say you blindly take these points. I am pivoting off both. I'm pivoting off that in both of these games. I do worry about the emotional win. Huge win. What a great win. The Browns had, but I gotta try to fade Pittsburgh here, I think.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I'm with Tim. I'm just going to continue to keep taking the Steelers until they don't cover numbers because they're just finding the weirdest possible ways to do it. And 4 points is a lot for a team that does struggle offensively like the Browns do, and they give up big plays. If there's ever a game for Pickens to get back on it, it's this game because he's the king of the 80-yard touchdown. Him or Calvin Austin will just somehow randomly be open downfield 50 yards and no one will see them, and that'll be the end of it, and the Steelers will score 14 points. 14 points will be good enough. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to win, but probably good enough to cover in this spot.
And the implied odds too, like the over-under is 36.5, right? So what are we really looking at for a Steelers or for a Browns team total in order to cover that spread? Like you feel good holding on to 4 points when the spread is that low, when the total's that low.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Jordan Love should have beaten them.
But he didn't.
Jordan Love doesn't beat anybody except for this week.
You're right.
Chicago and Detroit. Detroit is a massive favorite coming off a very visible win against the Chargers in week number 10. 10-point favorites at home against the Bears with Justin Fields returning. Trying to figure out the case here for the Bears to cover this number. And I guess it's their run defense has been really good. They've shut down some pretty big name running backs. I don't know if that's going to be they're going to be able to do it against the Lions, but I would be curious to see what happens with the Lions if they can't establish the run as well as they've been doing with Gibbs and Montgomery. If that's not something that they can lean on to open up their passing game, like what does their offense really look like?
I'm going to go with the Bears only because I feel like the Lions sort of are too much on top of the world. And 10 points in division is a ton of points with Fields coming back. I think it's enough that the Lions could win this. I expect the Lions to win this game by like 7 or 8. Am I really ready to lay 10 points into a team that's getting their quarterback back, and has looked competent the last couple of weeks by and large when they played. So
they look confident with Bajon.
Yeah, they looked confident. Yes, they did, but I think Fields is better. They looked good on that Thursday night game. I'm going to take the Bears to cover the number. I think it's a bit too rich.
I'm going to take the Bears as well in division. Double-digit points just seems like a lot almost an I want to know if someone out there has ran the numbers on this, what double-digit underdogs are against the spread in division. And I guess unless you're the Giants against Dallas, then everything seems to be working out okay here. But yeah, just the run defense has been a little bit better. The defense itself has been a little bit better. They're coming off the mini bye they played last Thursday. As you mentioned, Detroit's riding a high of coming off. I don't think that Detroit's in like a lot of danger of losing this game, but to cover by 10, especially with Fields, if he is truly healthy at this point, we haven't seen him run a ton so far this year, that maybe this is the spot where even if they're down by 14 late, that Fields just takes off and goes back to being great fantasy player, guy who doesn't win games, then that would be good enough to cover the spread. So I'll take Chicago, Geoff.
Yeah, make it 3. I don't really have an opinion, but it just feels like it's too many getting their quarterback back. I think the Bears can actually score 20 points. So, I don't know, Lions give up 30, don't lose. I don't love it, but I definitely agree with the assessment here. It just feels like it's a little rich.
Okay, let's get to your team. The Chargers are at Lambeau. For the Packers, they are 3-point favorites against Green Bay. 44.5 is the total. I'm going to take the Chargers. -3. It seems like the world's worst pick, granted, especially taking the Chargers to win by margin here, but they've kind of beat up on really crappy teams. Like that's when they've looked really good. And the Packers are objectively a very bad team. They can't move the ball. They struggle on they played okay defense against Kenny Pickett. As much as I've kind of like laughed at Justin Herbert this year, he's no Kenny Pickett. He can move the ball. So I like the Chargers in this spot, Geoff.
I don't know what to make of this. I will say in some ways it should be maybe a the only quarterbacks Brandon Staley can confuse in the slightest are below average quarterbacks. Maybe even like a tier, a bit of a tier. There's below average, and then maybe whatever like the tier is of that. Like if below average is C, then like the C- quarterbacks or below. So I guess we'll really find out what Jordan Love is. Any quarterback with a slightest set of skill or awareness can take care of dices up Brandon Staley's defense. It's shown. Like you will over 400 yards in total offense. So we'll see what Jordan Love's about. I just want Herbert to chuck. That's part of fun and sadness. Just chuck. You just let me watch you chuck it around the yard. I'll be okay. Like he was so good on Sunday. He made so many plays. Evaded 2 guys for a sack, running for like a 12-yard first down, pushing to the sideline, throwing darts over the middle, whipping arrows for Guyton on that touchdown, like through a little hole, like just rip it. That's all I want. I want to go down ripping it. Brent Rippin is but yeah, they don't beat anybody, right? Like their only cover was against Brent Rippin, the Packers. So we should beat that, but it's 1:00 in Lambeau. I don't even know. And my wife's going for some tests on Thursday. We might have the baby this weekend. So we'll see.
Would you skip the birth to watch the Chargers?
Technology is too good these days. I am not, listen, you want to do this? I am not one of these guys that's in there with the camcorder. Like I'm not. I'm not.
I think that only happens in movies. No one's actually doing that.
Not even the camcorder. I am on the other side of the room.
Camcorders don't even exist anymore.
I am on the head side of the room. My wife's head. I am not on the vaginal side of the equator. I've told you guys before. I do not even like looking when Homer Simpson falls down the Springfield Gorge. Okay?
Remember when Cam was going to lift up his shirt to show his bruise?
Oh, dude. Yeah, dude, done. I go to audio version. The second that's threatened, I'm done. And I heard you got people. I heard. I'm happy I went away because I heard you actually showed it. Yeah, they can wash the baby off and present it to me. Like I'm not pulling that sucker out. are part of that.
So you didn't get to see the baby come out. Wow.
Oh, I want no part of that.
It's real weird.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need it. Maybe that, and maybe people can say that's votes for me and most insane, but to that I'll say, as long as Tim just keeps eating things, I don't think I can ever lose. But yeah, the Packers can run the ball. They've got two running backs who are average or above average, or I don't know, Dylan sucks maybe, but change of pace. They can maybe run the ball. Maybe the Chargers lost the locker room. I think it's highly probable. So in that case, the floor could easily drop.
So you're taking the Packers?
I'll take the Packers. All
right. So he's pulling the Cust strategy here. What do you think?
I don't know. Dude. Yeah. Shit. What's the spread? 3?
Yeah. I already wrote down Green Bay. It's in pens.
In Lambeau.
You can't change
It's
it.
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
be
leave it.
chilly.
I'll leave it. You can leave it written. Leave it written, Packers.
And you're taking Green Bay as well, Tim?
I am. I can't lay points with the Chargers on the road right now. Not against a team that isn't
Are the Packers
absolute
better
worst.
than the Jets?
I think they're probably equivalent. The Jets have a really talented defense. I don't know if the Packers have a really talented anything.
So the Chargers beat the Jets.
They
on
did.
the road.
They did, but the Packers, I don't know. It's a good question.
I do think that the line reeks, Pat, because the advanced was 3, and despite the Chargers losing, it was one of those losses where, like, the Packers have no equity in the current betting markets for people. That was a type of loss that, like, what was so pathetic in its own ways was like a very cool fantasy fun loss, and the books didn't even care to respect it. And I don't know, you don't get any brownie points for losing, but I will say, like, it was 17-3. You probably thought the Chargers were going to lose this game by like 30 points or something. And they battled and fought all the way to the end and have scored touchdowns on their last 5 drives against a team people love, with Nance and Romo calling the game, and their advanced line versus the Packers doesn't move. So to me, like, that's a beep, 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 beep. Chargers could be big effing trouble. I said it, and think of me when they lose, because I think they easily could.
So
I think most people think of you when they lose, Jeff. I'm not going to lie to you. Most people who watch this show, their first thought when they either see the Chargers lose or see the score of the game, they think of you.
That's like a lot of main character syndrome. I think people have their own bets, they have their own interests.
No,
but
when it comes to the Chargers, they think of you.
I've said it before. In that case, I'll play main character. When I am dead and they win the Super Bowl, go to the Super Bowl, I won't be here. You can think of me. You can think.
I thought about the same thing about myself with the Jets. The people who know me know that when I've shuffled off this mortal coil and the Jets finally win a Super Bowl, that they should celebrate
I'll
it
take
for
main
me.
character syndrome to a higher level here for a moment.
Go
Not
ahead.
only that, I think, I'm dead. The Chargers made the Super Bowl. Are my friends in the group chat having this conversation? Well, we got to bet the Chargers for Fienberg. Or it's like, there's just no way the Chargers are going to win. He can't even help them from up there. Like, we should fade them.
Oh, I can see my friend's group thread if the Jets make the Super Bowl after I die. We should have all seen this coming. Only his death could have allowed for the Jets to win. You know, like, of course they're going to win. I know exactly. I could probably tell you who would say what and when. Am I wrong?
No, you're pretty spot on of how that conversation would look. I mean, it's not quite as main character, Jeff, as Tim thinking that they made the show NCIS Sydney at him just to trigger him.
No, I don't think that they made it. I'm aware that they didn't. I'm saying that it feels like it was directed at me because it's so frustrating.
Then they had the upside down ad.
It hurts your eyes to watch it.
40 seconds, and I'll be out and ring a buzzer if I go too long. My biggest concern, because I only care about the future, is that Brandon Staley certainly fired their last coaches, McCoy, Lynn, Staley, all first-time head coaches, and that they're going to go the other way. I'm worried they'll hire Bill Belichick. I'm worried they'd hire Sean McDermott. I'm worried they'll want to hire Dan Quinn to fix the defense. I still want to hire a guy who's never coached before and try to find a great coach, but I think it's burned them so hard that we're gonna go the total other way and actually pay Bill Belichick, and that scares me. scares me. Or McDermott. We're so stupid. We could do that. Scared. I'm out. Clock done.
You nailed it. You got exactly 40 seconds. That was pretty good. So
see, when we do that, I'm so good at that. You should put me on a clock more and say, you got this
Well, now
time,
you're
like
over
get
your-
it
you're
out.
over
And
your
then
time
I'm
now.
turning your mic off.
you're over the time now because you kept talking.
Well, no, we're over. Now we're done.
Okay. So Green Bay for you and Cust. The coin and I have decided on taking the Chargers -3 in Lambeau. Vegas and Miami. Miami coming off bye. They're 12-point favorites. A-Chain looks like he's going to be back for this one. 46.5. It's not quite as strong as I felt about Dallas last week against the Giants, but this is just a good spot for the Dolphins to run train on someone, and unfortunately, that's going to be the Raiders and their terrible defense.
It's the Widowmaker spot.
It
Dolphins
is.
by 50.
I love Miami here. We're teasing them down. They're the second part of a teaser.
You
I
don't even
love
need to
Miami
break
here.
this game down. Raiders in the Widowmaker spot versus the Dolphins. Done.
Yeah.
Not total Widowmaker. It's because they were on Sunday night, not Monday, but it's a bad spot. Done.
I can't believe they're 5-5.
I can. I picked them to go over their 7.5 win total. I feel like they're going to get there.
They might get there, but they're actively bad.
Oh, yeah. Raider fans are trolling me. How your alt Raider unders going, Fienberg?
Yeah.
You
well,
know how they're
your alt
going.
under- how are
Not good.
How are those alt unders going?
They're not
Feinberg?
going good. I can't. To Pat's point, I can't. But Pat, when the season ends, people will want to come for my head when the media gives DeMar his award.
He had a great tackle last night.
No, he deserved. He made his tackle. We don't even need to debate it. We don't even need to debate it. But my point on that, to round about it, is people will think I should feel stupid for that. Nothing. I'll feel nothing. I will feel wrong. Nothing will make me feel more wrong than this Raiders win results at the moment. I don't know how anyone has lost a game to them. Anyone who's lost to that team should be ashamed of themselves.
They have playmakers, Jeff. That's why they have one of the very best receivers in football.
But he doesn't
They have
do
one of the
anything.
best pass rushers.
But Devontae Adams doesn't do anything.
They have Jacoby Meyer, who's proven himself to be a very competent
But
wide
he
receiver.
hasn't-
They have one of the best pass rushers.
They have a middle
in the
linebacker.
NFL.
They don't.
They have a middle linebacker that this
to
new
point
interim
to
coach
all
wants
of-
to build the whole team around.
To point all of these things out, Max Crosby has how many sacks? Like 5 or something like that? And Adams and Myers are having bad years. Like it makes no sense how they keep winning
I
games.
think if they hadn't had McDaniels, they probably would have more than 5 wins.
You might be right. But
Like,
it's mind-boggling to watch them. Like they have not looked good in any game this year. And they have 5 wins.
they're Homer Simpson to your Frank Grimes.
A little bit. Like in a weird world, because Pittsburgh's doing it, we'd be talking about the Raiders in the same vein. It's just no one cares. Because everyone just kind of... Because the Steelers have Mike Tomlin, and over the past 25 years, the Steelers have just been established as being good every single year. No one really questions. It's like, oh yeah, they are probably pretty good. And they're getting kind of lucky. Like, the Raiders are just covering games, and I don't know, they might as well be in the XFL.
Even in their losses, there have been elements of voodoo. The fact they didn't lose to the Lions by 50.
Yeah.
They lost that game by 12. And what planet? Even the Chargers game. One player had 7 freaking sacks or something. They had the ball at I know that's like the Chargers charging, but even their losses feel like their losses are being double glazed in some of that Tomlin voodoo. Again, I have to eat it. Like, dead wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I cannot believe they are 5-5. I'm astonished.
What are
Hold
on.
Coach of the, McDaniels and Pierce should share Coach of the Year, maybe. They're finished 500 or something.
What is the alt under? Is it 5.5 or 4.5?
Mine was 5.5, but it's dead.
It's not. It's actually not dead if you look at their schedule. They're at
It's not dead.
It's at the Dolphins, at home against the Chiefs, at home against the Vikings. That's the winnable game. So is at home against the Chargers. At home against the
That's what does them in.
Chargers. at the Chiefs, at the Colts, at the Broncos. Like, it's not unrealistic to go 0-7 over these games.
It's not, but I mean, like, they're coin flips against the Broncos, the Vikings,
And this
the
coach
Chargers,
is going to
and
have
the
them
Colts.
ready to play a dead fish in December. Like, they'll steal a December game. I like the coach.
This was
that
my
rah-rah
logic
shit.
behind the Raiders last week. The coach is breathed life into them.
What
I don't-
life did the Raiders have in that Jets game? They just did nothing, and that worked.
They didn't. Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I'm picking against them in this game, obviously, because when they go up against really good teams, which they have twice this season, they lost to the Lions by 12 and to the Bills, who at that point were good, when they had defensive players, by 28. So when they play really good teams that are healthy, they tend to lose
There
by.
might be a yards after catch record in that game because the Raiders still like to play that soft shell, and that will allow. This isn't like a little dump. These are little dumps to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with space, or even Berrios or any of their backs.
I love Josh. I love this game as a stack, and I love coming back with Josh Jacobs because the Raiders are going to give him the ball a million times in this game. It's their only path.
I agree
So
with you.
I like
that
a
was my
Dolphin
first
stack
thought.
coming back with Jacobs. That's the game in DFS that I would play this week.
The issue is which Miami players do you use because they're so
I
expensive?
take Hill. I
So
would
you-
take
you
Hill.
just-
I
you just use Hill.
would pay it up.
You would just use Hill and Tua. That's it.
Hill, Tua, and Hill and let's make it a mini stack then. Hill and Tua, and bring back Jacobs.
Well,
But
do
the
you know who the
Dolphins
Dolphins
are
are getting
now
back
re-
this week?
A chain. I don't know how expensive
Oh,
A chain is.
no,
Is
no,
he coming
not.
back? He's got a 21.
He's rumored to be coming back this week. They said that he's fine, but also potentially coming back for the Dolphins, Tim. Take me to
J-Dub.
the river. Put me in the water. Craycraft, he's going to be back.
I can't stand Craycraft.
That's the
Tim.
guy then.
The Dolphins, though, like Tim can hide it. Tim can play games. Tim can try to seem sane about it, but it's always a rotating chart of his hatred, and it's always the team he fears the most, who he chooses to hate the most, despite what he says. Now that the Bills have, they've, I don't want to say like they're alive in the picture, but like the Dolphins are now at the top of the mountain, the clearest path.
After next week, it's Bills week.
Yeah,
Like we're playing the Bills
yeah,
this
it's
week.
Bills Jets playing each other this week.
Yeah, so like usually you're right, but it's Bills week. So like once we dispatch Buffalo this week, then I can turn all my focus.
Like the holiday season is essentially going to be you going to war with the Dolphins.
Well, next week, Black Friday.
Is that next week?
Yeah.
That's next week, Black Friday. A game you dare not miss.
Hopefully we can do something for that on Mayo Media Network, but we might be doing
Like Hill is going to struggle against that Jets D. Waddle is going to struggle against that Jets D. A-Chain could do well. You can actually run against the Jets. Those receivers will do little to nothing. Tua
I
is
saw
going to be
Aiden
running
O'Connell
for his
complete some
life.
clutch passes. I'm sure
Aiden
Tua
O'Connell's
can.
good. Oh, I'm sure Tua will complete some. That game has the potential to look a lot like the Chargers-Jets game, and that the defense plays great, the offense does nothing. But we'll get to that game with Jets when we
If
get
you
to it.
beat
But
the
like,
Bills, if the Jets beat the Bills, that's for first
Again.
place in the standings.
well, no, Miami is still a game ahead. Miami
you
has
win
6
that-
wins, and Miami has 6 wins and 3 losses. With a win, and they're going to beat the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
Miami will
sorry,
be
you're
7
right.
wins.
Yeah.
So the next week's game will be for the AFC East. Yes, in such a circumstance.
Actually, that wouldn't be true because the Jets have 5 losses and the
That's
Dolphins
true.
only have 3.
You're right.
So
The
either
Jets
way,
would still be a half game back.
yeah,
Yeah,
they'd be.
And
they'd
I
be-
forgot to add in the Dolphins win this week to their current standing.
But look, the AFC East teams are all just place markers till they get beaten by whomever is the AFC East team in the playoffs. Just going to get ruined by whomever in the first round, so it doesn't really matter.
I do. It's gonna come off bad.
as bad as Tim eating a mushroom.
No, it's more so out of like jealousy than like I think the Dolphins are great. I don't give them a hard time for the games they've lost because like they're going to win those games. To me, it's inevitable that the Dolphins are going to win the games they're currently not winning. I just want to say any team with a pulse would probably have their identical record with the schedule they've played.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
But I don't doubt. But that's not like I don't doubt that they are literally like about to knock down the barrier. At least like a regular season big games. I don't doubt they can win playoff games against good teams like that. I'm not holding it against them yet because I've seen enough progress to know that they're on their path.
Yeah, I can't wait for that playoff game, Browns-Dolphins in Miami, when the Browns D just suffocates them and they score like 14 points.
They'll hit big plays.
Yeah, that's actually with the way that the Browns defense gives up big plays, the Dolphins offense might be a bad matchup for them. It'd be like the Ravens D that would shut them down.
Yeah, that would certainly be true.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever. I think the Dolphins are dead too.
What? See, I told
Like-
you couldn't resist. It's Bills week.
Well, it is Bills week, but like, you know, I'm also aware who's coming around on Friday.
Giants in Washington. The Washington Commanders are 10-point favorites in this game. 37.5 is the over-under. Geoff, it took Brian Daboll continuing to play that game to the very last second to ruin the same game parlay under of every receiver on the Giants to hit because Bellinger ended up with a 27-yard catch with 40 seconds left to ruin it all. But this offense can't move the ball. They just beat the Giants. They just beat Washington like 2 weeks ago or whatever the hell it was, 14-7. And now Washington's getting 10 points at home. It's almost the case that I made for Washington week 1 when I picked against them and picked Arizona. Should Washington be 10-point favorites over anyone in football?
Probably not.
They should against DeVito. Yes, they should. This team, you can't. It's the Giants' opponent at any number right now. That's horrifying. I wouldn't bet the game, but if you have to take a side, you have to take the Commanders.
It is
What's
sort
the
of
value?
like
What's the value in Giants then? If the game kicked off and it were 10-0 Giants, what are the odds that the New York Giants cover that number?
It would be around 50-50 if it was -10.
Next to nothing.
I'd rather bet Washington down 10-0 in the first quarter than laying 10 to start the game though before the first snap.
Okay.
It can.
It's all about the Giants defense. Like, can the Giants defense do what they did to Washington last time? Drop Howell on his ass like 7 times and Washington scores like 14 points.
No, but here's the flip side of it, Pat. Because the Giants defense can probably keep it competitive, like the game won't become a total blowout. That keeps the Washington defense, that keeps Washington from turning to the preseason mentality like Dallas turned to in that game, where like their starters actually remain in it and therefore they cover.
I mean, Dallas played Dak until the end of the third quarter, and that was the end of it. They had already scored almost 50 points by that time. I don't know if Washington's going to be able to just pound points on the Giants. And if they don't, the Giants, with the way that they're currently playing offense, which is barely playing offense, they don't throw. So the clock there's no incompletions. It's just running. So in order for them to cover this, you have to think that the defense holds Hal long enough that they don't get to 28 points. Like, max they can get to in this game has to be like 17 if we want to cover, which is possible. They just held them to 7 a few weeks ago. And Barkley ends up with like 31 carries for 120 yards, keeps the chains moving, and they don't ask DeVito to do anything, and they end up scoring 10 points. I'm going to take the Giants.
I hate it. I'll take Washington. I hate it though.
Yeah, I won't tease them or anything, but I think it's you got to take the Washington Commanders here.
You're not going to tease them down to 3?
Nope, I don't trust this game. Washington shouldn't. I just don't want to get involved in it. I don't need to get involved in it.
Okay. Dallas and Carolina. Carolina, coming off the mini bye, are 10.5-point dogs at home to the Cowboys. 42.5 is the over-under. This game has me freaked a little bit because I just want to pick the Cowboys to roll because they tend to roll against really shitty teams, and Carolina is the shittiest of all teams. But I feel like we were in the spot with Arizona in week 4, and the Cowboys just got shellacked in Arizona. But is there any value on the Panthers here at 10.5? It feels like there has to be.
I'm teasing them down. The Cowboys, that is.
The coin's
3.5.
the coin's taking Carolina.
And I'm just going to roll with Carolina in this game.
Any
Sorry, Dallas. Dallas in this game. I
already wrote Carolina. Sorry, that's your pick now.
Other than the Giants, who are the worst team in the NFL, Carolina is the second worst team in the NFL. And, if we consider the game last week was in Dallas, and Dallas is like 17.5. If you do the switcheroo with the points given the game in Carolina, the spread is about where it probably should be. I'll take Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas.
It's a fair number.
Like, Bryce Young stinks. I don't know if he's going to be able to complete, I don't want to say a pass. Maybe he complete a pass. But he was struggling against that Bears defense. And this is
early.
Obviously,
isn't as good as CJ Stroud.
I'm not saying this is going to be Bryce Young in 5 years from now. But right now, because when we're betting the
He's
games,
not playing
he
well.
sucks.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're obligated to make a pick on this game.
Yeah, I'm just looking at who else plays Thanksgiving.
Seattle, San Francisco, Washington, Dallas, Green Bay, Detroit.
So I almost want to fade every single team, but I just took Washington and Pat wrote it down. On that note, I think it's just I think it's just gonna be a sloppy game with Dallas having, I know it's not necessarily a big game because it's against Washington, but it's still like their big regular season showcase day. So sloppy, weird game that, I don't know, Carolina covers, but I'm not betting that. No chance.
Okay. Are we doing a best bets for Thanksgiving again this year?
We should.
We should. And should we put the Black Friday game in it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Well, I have to talk to Cam to see if he's able to do it. I think Pizzola can do it. I don't know if Cam can do it. Cam might have work obligations that he cannot join us live on Thursday morning.
I joked.
Oh, okay. I was talking about like doing two separate shows next week. Like often we will do two separate spread pick shows.
That.
Do we?
We have in the past.
We do a mini show, like a Yeah, in the past we have.
Oh, okay. So
we've done a Thanksgiving show and then the full slate. But we don't have to do that. We could do it all in one shot.
Or maybe release it as two and we record it at the same time.
You could do that.
But I mentioned to Rob that I didn't appreciate him he challenges Cam on everything and he let some things go unchallenged last week. And then Rob joked with me, which made me quickly realize the life of working with Cam or making content with Cam is that, like, Cam, before you even start recording, like, Cam is already complained.
He's got to go.
He's already in a rush. He's already a thing. And then I joked with Rob that, yes, it's true. And Rob, during the course of the time you record, Pat, I made it like Rob has this, it's like a power meter where he knows, like, I can only make fun of Cam within the threshold of this power meter. And or battle Cam through the threshold of this power meter. And if I use, like, there's only so many times you can fight him on it before that show ends and he thinks like you're mad at him or have been mean to him, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
He was ready to jump over to this spread pick show till Pat informed him that it was like a 3-hour commitment. And he was like, no, sorry, can't be done. Goodbye.
Yeah, the 1 hour.
I was like, yeah, I can't waste some of my equity to make fun of Cam on that. Like or maybe I just came off of making fun of him with something big, and you've got to Pizzola's got a strategy when dealing with Cam, as I'm sure you have developed now hosting him for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, like you are correct though. He's always in a rush. He's got stuff to do. Tennessee and Jacksonville. The Jags are, let's see here. What are the Jags? The Jags are 6.5-point favorites at home against Tennessee. Tennessee, I mean, the NFC versus AFC. NFC got the revenge last week in a lot of these games. The Bucs just shellacked the Titans. I don't know what to make of this. Steffi Graf's been kind of terrible for the Jags. That offense looks out of sorts. Zay Jones just got charged with like domestic battery or something like that. So doubtful he's playing this week, although I guess Michael Thomas played last week after getting arrested. Then he hurt his knee. So I guess that's karma for what ended up happening. I'm going to take the Jags. I think their defense is good enough to maybe we got a bit too high on Will Levis, or maybe he just ended up with a bad game and Todd Bowles was able to contain a rookie quarterback. Maybe the Jags defense can't do that, but I think the Jags can move the ball well enough against the Titans, and they can force Levis into some mistakes here. Now that they have some game film on him, there's only like 2 or 3 things he can actually do, and force him to not do those things, and he can't do anything. So Jags at home, 6.5.
You know, this is normally like the Thursday night football Super Bowl, right? Jags, Titans. It's a shame the league is not given, like, that should be a Thursday night tradition at some point in the season. These two teams. I'm with you, Pat. Give me the Jags. If you believe the Jags are good, then they have to qualify as a good team who just got their freaking doors blown off. And historically, we see those teams answer if they're actually good teams. So I'm going to acknowledge, not that I ever doubted it, although I faded them in some spread situations to losing bets. Never doubted Jacksonville's a good team. They're going to win. They're going to cover.
Agreed. I like Jacksonville a decent amount in this game.
Okay. Arizona and Houston. You're not teasing them through 0?
Nope. The next game is a teaser.
If you could see, like, what Jacksonville's run defense is better than Tampa's, and you can't run the ball for shit. It gets all put on Levis. Mistakes going to happen.
Yeah, third in the NFL, the Jags run defense right now, with Cleveland being the best, and the hell is number 2?
Derrick Henry at 20 yards.
Yeah,
Baltimore?
Philly's number 2.
Philly. Okay.
Baltimore is actually, let's see here, 9th against the run.
Okay.
Cardinals at the Texans. The Texans are 4-point favorites. 47.5 is the over-under, is the highest total of the week. I like the Texans. I think this is when I was starting to think about it, I originally liked the Cardinals in this game. Kyler's back. Cardinals look good week 1, but they played Atlanta. I think you have to throw out what any team does against the NFC South. Like, unless they get like shellacked by them or something like that. Like, if you beat an NFC South team, it's like, oh, great. You're supposed to.
Well, but
they're like the 4 worst
team
teams
just
in football.
lost to an NFC South team a couple of weeks ago. They lost to the Panthers.
Yeah, the Texans did, yeah. And we threw that out and we went back to them.
I like the Cardinals a lot in this game.
Why, though?
Teasing it because I'm all in on Murray. I think Murray's showed me
you
everything.
were all out on Murray last week.
I certainly was. I didn't think I'd see flashes at all. But what now that I have seen, I have to change my mind. I saw what I didn't think I was going to see. I saw him running at 100% speed. I saw the elusivity. I saw great throws. I saw the guy who's going to be the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals next year, I think, without a doubt in my mind. I'm all in with Kyler in this game. Getting 4 points against the Texans, that is a very top of the market value or line with Houston laying 4 points. I like Arizona a bunch, and we're teasing Arizona up to 11.
Arizona plus 11. I think this glimmer of hope that Kyler did look good last week. I liked the Cardinals last week.
Great.
Mainly because I don't like
against
Atlanta.
a good Atlanta team.
They're not good. They're bad. Everyone
like
in
this
that
Atlanta
division,
team.
you might like them. That's fine. Every team in that division is bad. When they play other teams from other divisions, they lose.
Yeah, I like the Falcons. I think they've got a lot of talent.
That's great. They're really maximizing.
Kyler stepped into the breach and played really good football.
He did. Kyler's a good quarterback. Stroud's a better quarterback. And
I don't know that that's true, by the way. I think Kyler may be a better quarterback. You say that, but I don't know. That remains to be seen.
Justin Herbert.
Kyler's pretty awesome.
Justin Herbert retires tomorrow, Jeff, and you get to pick between C.J. Stroud and Kyler Murray. Who you got?
I'm taking C.J. Stroud.
What about for one game?
Stroud.
Yeah, I think still Stroud.
Now, for one game, I'm taking Kyler. Maybe for his career, I'll take Stroud.
He had 400, they had over 500 yards versus the Bengals, and they had almost 500 versus the Bucs.
He's a fantastic player. Kyler is super special.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, I know we're not including contracts or any of that.
Or the fact he's coming off an injury, of course.
Yeah, take Stroud. I'm nothing against Kyler. I'm also going to fade Kyler here. I am worried. That
Not surprised. You guys are also anti-Lamar and pro Oh my
What are
God,
you saying?
Josh Allen.
What are you saying?
Pro Josh Allen.
Are you saying that we don't like black quarterbacks? Is that
No,
is
we
that,
don't
is
like
that, is
small
that the point?
running
Is that the
backs.
point
No.
you're trying to
You
make?
think
You don't
we're Ryan
like
Tannehill?
you don't like small running quarterbacks.
You think we're Ryan Tannehill? There's only
Who are
certain
electric.
types of quarterbacks will
You
help.
guys don't like electric quarterbacks who sometimes can get hurt.
You were
don't.
you were the one who came on here and said, Kyler can't do anything. He's coming off knee
I didn't
surgery.
know. I
Who's
didn't
who's the
think
one
he
who
would.
picked Kyler Murray? It was me. Now I'm picking
Once
CJ
I s-
Stroud against
Yeah,
the.
but you have to be honest about what you see. And when you see somebody who looks like they're 100% back,
you know what I saw is that the Cardinals defense continues to be one of the 3 worst defenses in football, and Stroud's going to pick
Agreed.
them apart.
I don't know. This team a couple of weeks ago lost to an even worse team in Carolina. So, like, you can't forget that they let Tampa, who's a bad team, go to the wire with them. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're playing really well and they're good, and they could even win and not cover because 4 points is just a lot of points to ask the Texans to cover under.
I'm just not. I'm not here for Arizona as a public underdog. I will, if they cost me, I'll tip my cap to them. I'll salute them. I'll salute Kyler, who I got nothing against and liked him. Any football fan, that was great to see. Like him running around the yard, looking great, looking healthy, turning big corners, evading defenders. Loved it. Even in losing money on Atlanta, like I was entertained and happy for Kyler. I can do that.
Okay. So
Texans.
Texans for you and I, the Coin and Tim, are both on Arizona. Brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
So I don't understand why some people have this weird objection to somebody who is somewhat picky about the foods that they want to eat. There is nothing wrong with as long as you're not like the most restricted and diet based on not liking a ton of foods. Like I won't eat a single vegetable. That's strange. Or I won't eat a single fruit. That's strange, unless you have like physical dietary requirements. There's nothing wrong with being picky about not liking 2 or 3 types of food. It's not weird or strange. It's perfectly okay to request them not to have it like that at a restaurant. That's why places will do that for you. And you're not a picky eater if you don't like 2 or 3 different things. It's perfectly normal to have a palate that doesn't agree with certain flavors. So I don't understand why people can say, oh, that's what a picky eater. Someone doesn't like to eat mushrooms. Someone doesn't like to eat this, that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's completely normal. I don't know how noble people must feel they are that they'll eat anything under any circumstances. Well, not everybody does, okay?
Who called you a picky eater?
I just the presumption that it's real picky
who called you
not to like mushrooms.
Who called you a picky eater?
No one did in particular, but I know people are thinking it,
Yeah, that's real main character stuff there, pal.
aren't they? That you know people are thinking it.
Not really. There's people who don't. Paul doesn't like mushrooms either.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No one said that there was.
There's a presumption that like grown-ups shouldn't like have foods that they just don't like the flavor of.
It's pretty rich coming from you, who I like that you put all those caveats in there. It's like, well, it's not like someone who doesn't eat any vegetables whatsoever, because we have a friend who does this, Geoff, and just Tim likes to have a lot
that
of
person is a picky eater. That there, the term is a perfectly acceptable sobriquet.
No
Because
one called you a picky eater. You're calling yourself a picky eater is essentially what you're saying.
I know people are thinking it.
I didn't think it. There's foods
Yes,
I don't
you
like.
did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Of course you did.
Why? Why, of course?
Because I didn't want to eat mushrooms, and you thought that was strange.
I mean, I like mushrooms. I have nothing against mushrooms. I know a lot of people who don't like mushrooms. It's fine. It was just funny that
like,
you had to eat it.
You've told me in the past that it's bad to like ask at a restaurant not to have certain things on a meal.
Yes, I told you when the thing that you're ordering and then not getting the thing, what's the point of even ordering it?
Because, I'm the one who's spending my money. If they're going to make something and I don't want a tomato on it, There is nothing wrong
I
with
never
asking
once,
for no
I
tomato.
never once said anything about you asking for no tomato on something.
You said
That
you're
is
not
such
supposed
a
to
lie.
be picking things out of your food, which is what I will do if they won't take it off, or if somebody's made something that I don't like.
Yes, you can ask for it not to be on
No,
there.
you said that's a problem.
No, I said when you were picking it off, that's the problem because it looks like you're 4 years old.
No, see, there you go. You're making it sound like it's juvenile. If I pick out the mushrooms from a casserole because I don't want to eat them,
then ask for no mushrooms.
but sometimes if you're just like at a barbecue or something, or at like a potluck, you don't have that ability.
When you're
And
at
I'm not being a picky eater
when
because
you're at a barbecue and the mushrooms get put in your casserole, this is your example?
this can happen with tomatoes in particular, where people will like mix tomatoes and stuff, and I just have to like pick them out because they're gross. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being, I'm not being a picky eater by picking things out of the food I don't like.
It's very childlike behavior to pick things out.
No, it's not childish.
You can order it without the things that you don't like. That's what adults do. Not sit there like at a restaurant with your food and like picking through it. Just like the same person, Geoff, that Tim was referencing earlier. We went on a golf trip earlier this year, and he didn't ask for no onions in a meal and then lost his mind when his whatever dish it was that he ordered that has onions in it, because they didn't list onions as one of the things on the menu, although the dish comes with onions every single time that you get it.
In his defense, I don't think there's anything wrong with not liking all vegetables or not liking, even though it is strange. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine.
Oh, so
there's
now
nothing childish about it.
now you're in his corner with it.
It's perfectly fine in a free country.
This is
to
a new
eat the food you want to eat and not eat the food you don't want to eat.
I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with it. What I am saying is that when it comes out and it's full of the thing, and then you chase down the one waitress for 50 people and basically yell at her in the middle of a restaurant because there's onions in it.
That is different. That's a behavioral thing, not a food thing.
And then when you finally get your order again, and there is I think the meal is basically made with onions, and then the chef has to go pick out all the onions that are in it, and there's like one like half little shred of onion that comes in your second one, and like still kind of losing your mind about it. You don't have to eat it.
No, but like if I'm at a potluck and this has happened before, where someone has like
how many fucking you bring up potlucks all the time? How many fucking potlucks do you go to?
A lot, actually.
Really?
I belong to a church. There are all kinds of potlucks that happen at churches. It's just a thing that happens. If somebody brings a casserole, like a chicken pot pie sort of casserole, I can't stand peas. I hate peas. I will pick them out of the casserole because I don't like them.
Then don't eat the casserole.
There's nothing child. No, I really like chicken pot pie, but I don't want
the
peas. I just don't like the peas.
Well, you better tell fucking Gladys to beat it with the peas then.
No, but and I will do it too when I buy a chicken pot pie at like Costco or whatever and make it for myself. Those are really good, but I'll pick the peas out because I don't like them. There's nothing weird about that. It's perfectly okay. It's not immature to have food preferences. I don't understand the attitude of like, unless you eat everything exactly the way it comes, like, you're not a grown up. Please.
I mean, no one said that.
Please. That was what basically you are saying when you say that you eat like a child. I don't
like
my food.
Hold on. I never said shut up. I never said one thing about you eating like a child. What I said was picking stuff off your burger is like what a child does. You can order it. You can order it without these things.
But if you get something that already has something, let's say you didn't anticipate it would be on there, or you forgot to ask for it not to be there.
That's your fault.
I'm not going to eat it out of spite. I'm going to pick it off. I am particular. There are food flavors and textures I don't like.
Playing with your food.
I don't like when my food touches. I don't like certain textures in my food. I'm going to eat the way I want to eat.
Hold on. You don't like when your food touches?
I don't like it. I can tolerate it, but I don't like it. No, but I don't like it when they touch. I like to keep a barrier if it's at all possible.
Like, for example, I don't like coleslaw at all. You can just not eat the thing.
Coleslaw is different though, because that's that's a whole dish. You wouldn't pick coleslaw out of something.
No, you don't pick it out, but you just have to leave it on the plate at that point. See, I don't like it because it's usually when you're ordering like something with fries, and then like the juice from the coleslaw gets underneath the fries and makes the fries soggy. That I don't like. So I'm with you.
That's bad form. Coleslaw should always come in a bowl or a cup or even a ketchup packet style thing, so that it doesn't because like you said, it will make something crispy or hot, soggy, and I'm on board. I like coleslaw, but it should be separate.
Yeah, just don't order the thing that you don't want to eat.
Well, but sometimes there's a lot of stuff in it I want.
You're
stuff
feeling
I don't
very
want.
defensive about this. So it
Well,
feels
yeah,
like
but
it's weighing on
I
you,
am-
despite no one saying anything to you about it, or even really think like you really think that people think about you this much.
I think it was thought of. Yes. Jeff hasn't got a whole lot to say, and Jeff's an extremely cautious eater.
Paul
Yeah,
has
I'm a
something to
plain
say.
eater, but hold on. I agree with Pat actually here that you're projecting something. No one gives a shit if an adult has a food preference. It is embarrassing though when a grown adult is like picking things out. Just order it without. If you can't, then yeah, you do look like a child. If you are,
No, I don't.
not use anyone who does that.
If I order a JBC and forget at the counter to ask for no
that's
tomato,
different. That's like
and I
I'm
take
ripping,
the tomato off the JBC, that's not me being a child.
But no, but also no one's going to see that because you're just going to eat dummy it in your car.
I'm thinking about doing it in an actual restaurant, not like
That's a
Wendy's.
restaurant.
Yeah, but you don't eat it in the restaurant. You eat it in your car.
Not usually, but if we're like gone on a road trip somewhere and we stop at Wendy's,
Which we don't stand.
that is-
And this
I've been on
happens. And
plenty.
this happens.
I've been on plenty of road trips with you. We never go into the restaurant to eat. We get
this
the food and
happened
we
the
go.
first time we went on our big golf trip. We stopped at the Wendy's and PEI and we ate in. And then I asked for all kinds of extra crackers for my chili, and they were smashed on me so that I couldn't have extra crackers as a snack to bring home. But that's a separate point.
To bring home.
That's a separate. That's to bring to the hotel to have as a free snack. That's a separate point. We ate in the Wendy's there, and that trip. Oh yeah, when you go to Wendy's, get the chili and ask for extra crackers and extra hot sauce, and just bring that stuff home.
Did Butt smash all your crackers on you?
Every one of them. He smashed them on me so that I couldn't have them.
Such an old lady. You
It's-
like filling your purse with sweet and low.
My grandma does that. My grandma, every time that I've been out to eat with her over the past 20 years, like if there is anything in the middle of the table, it's in the purse. So I was like, do you even use this stuff? No. All right.
I think
Go
she has
for
the
it.
same policy as
Well, I don't
Tim
know.
at
I don't know how
hotels.
many crackers I'm going to want in my chili.
You already said they're for a snack for later.
Well, if I don't use them all in my chili, then yeah, they're a snack for later.
Paul, you had your hand up. What did you want to chime in here? As someone who has dietary restrictions.
This reminded me of something else that he did, like, I don't know, maybe it was like 4, 5, 6 corners ago, where we kind of, at the end of the day, just told him that he's way too in his own head about all of this. But I can't recall the exact thing.
I've been thinking about this for like 4 straight days.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, no one cares, man.
It's
I mean,
it's
you
like
do
been
look
bothering
childish
me.
if you, like, pick out your
See,
peas
stop
out of
saying
a
that.
pot pie, but, like...
No, I'm not
whatever. Why do you
childish. I
care
just
that
don't like
people
them.
be judging you?
Well, I don't need to be judged,
I mean, no
But
one's
you
judging
deserve
because
it.
you don't like mushrooms.
amongst other things. Yeah, I don't. It's gross.
That's fine. You don't have to like mushrooms. It's funny that you lost a bet and had to eat a mushroom. I don't like mustard.
And like if something comes in it and has mushrooms, like there's nothing wrong with me picking them out.
No, you just say like I don't really care for mushrooms either. And there's one of my favorite places. There's a pasta I like. It has mushrooms. I say no mushrooms. Like, why is that? No one looks at me like, oh, that's so
No, but it's
weird.
like
Why do you
again,
do
it,
that?
the other chili. Someone is or you're going to someone's house, or there's a big pot of chili. Oftentimes, people put mushrooms in their chili. If I'm given a bowl, I'm picking the mushrooms out.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Just
that's
I'm not
weird.
eating
That's-
the mushrooms.
Just don't eat the chili.
Yeah.
No, I like
agree.
chili.
I
It
agree.
doesn't sound like you
And
like
it's
chili.
not the same as Wendy's. It's not the same. It's not. I agree. It's not weird taking a tomato off of like a fast food hamburger because the teenager didn't hear you at the cash. But it is weird being a guest in someone's house and like going like literally what I would do for like a child or something. That's weird.
No, it's not. It's perfectly normal for people not to like certain things, and it's an unnecessary judgment that you people are rendering on others. It's not
Tim,
right.
what do you make of restaurants? I'm sure Pat. I don't like these sorts of places. There's one that I do like.
No substitutions?
Yeah, there's this Italian place. They won't even like cut the pizza. They think that's like inauthentic or
I
something.
like it. I think
I think it's so unnecessarily pretentious.
I love it. It's so great.
No, well, it's just
there are
it's just,
there are
that
certain
is
places
juvenile.
there are certain
That
places
is
that I
juvenile.
go. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim, that you can't go to these places, but
Oh, I can go.
It
Just these
doesn't-
people are childish.
doesn't sound. I mean,
My work is my food is such artwork that it dare not be cut.
oh, I'm
by
sorry
an
that
eye.
I'm sorry that they take pride in what they do and they want you to eat it your way. It's like how I have severe problems with anyone who listens to this show at 1.25 speed. I think I would prefer they don't listen to the show. So fuck all of you who are listening to this on
I
fast
don't
motion
understand how
and then
people
approach me
listen
in
to
real life and be like,
1.25.
"Wow, you're talking really slowly." It's you fucktard. Who's the one who's an idiot on this? I produce this to be consumed 1x. If you don't have the time, I'm sorry. Listen to this for as long as you can. Don't 2x me on this. Don't 1.5x me on this. Listen to how it was produced. That's what these artists are saying, who are chefs and cooking meals for you.
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, I am.
I was going to say yeah, this is a real 70 millimeter film argument, which is fine. But when it comes to food, like I'm the consumer of the actual food. The food is actually made for the purpose of my enjoyment.
Then you don't
But
have.
they know
Then
it.
you
I
don't have
want
to order
know
it.
they're pissing off customers.
Yeah, that's
But
part
they
of,
don't care.
That's
like,
part of the deal.
How the chef wants it to taste is the only way you can eat it. I respect it. I can't expand my menu. I can only have like the pasta dishes that I don't want to make substitutions in because I've seen people getting like talked down to by the waiter. Like they don't do
The
it.
waiter, well, that hasn't happened to me. But if a waiter came right aboard me or a chef came right aboard me about how dare I make a substitution, I'd come right back.
No, you
they'll be like, "No, we're not
absolutely
doing it."
would not. That is such a
And they're
fucking
Yes,
not
I
lie.
would.
arguing with
You would
you.
sit
They're
there
just
and
telling you they
cower
don't
and say
do it.
yes.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
I would not.
You
I'd say-
absolutely would.
I'd say
But the
make
chef
it to
is-
my
You are
specifications. or I'll leave.
not in the business of making a public spectacle. You are not me.
I would just say you make it to my specifications or I'll leave.
Then leave.
And if that means
Then
me
they'll
leaving,
say
then
then
I'll
leave.
leave.
They'll say
Then I'll
leave.
leave.
You won't.
Then
leave.
I'll leave.
You wouldn't want to make
I'm
it
the
awkward.
customer.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to make it awkward with anyone. I've been out with you too many times. It's never going to happen.
You would complain a whole bunch at the table when they weren't there, and then you would come on the next week's corner and complain about it more.
If you went to one of these bougie restaurants that literally only have 8 tables in them and told and it was a strictly no substitutions like situation, the chef would just be like, leave. Like he wouldn't even argue with you. He wouldn't even like care for your I'm the customer. Yes, to Pat's point, like some of them are to the point like this is my art. You're going to eat it how I want it, or there is no other option to eat it.
Additionally, this doesn't apply to 99.999% of restaurants.
Yes, of course.
Like
Most-
if you're going to
No,
this
most
restaurant,
restaurants are in the business of making their customers happy,
Well, this-
not making their chefs happy.
this is an entirely different business plan.
It's a very Soviet style of restaurant.
really
where
not.
It's being run for the benefit of the employee, not the customer.
Well-
It's a very weird and aberrant way to run a restaurant.
It's not really like it's
is.
it's targeting a very select group of people, especially because, like you said, like we had this when we went to this Michelin star restaurant in Nice, and you couldn't make any substitutions on it, and you got their 10-course different type of meal, and I looked at it, I was like, I don't want this stuff, so I didn't get the 10-course meal. My wife got it. I got what I wanted because I knew that I wouldn't like some of the stuff coming out of it, so I just didn't order it. But you could not make substitutions. There was 3 tables in that place, and we had to book it like 3 months in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not messing with that guy's food, whatever.
That doesn't sound fun.
But
that
also,
sounds,
Tim,
that sounds like a miserable experience.
Then don't
there's
go.
a bit like I won't
Just
go.
miserable.
Then don't go. No one's
I
forcing
won't
you to go to it.
They're like I won't go to the like they're really fancy restaurants. Well, especially here in Toronto, but I'm sure every city like these preset menus that my wife would love. Like she knows she's just going with a friend because like I won't eat it. Like I won't eat it, so I don't go.
Yeah, I think that makes
Yeah.
sense. If you don't like
sounds
it, don't go.
sounds fun and inviting. That's a real good way to run a business.
No, there's places, there's just not for me, and I'm not offended by it either.
Well, I think that as a customer, all restaurants should be run for me
Oh yeah, but you also think every restaurant should have a buffet.
of something. Yeah, I do. I believe that in my bones.
Why don't you open a restaurant then?
Because there's no, apparently it's an extremely low profit margin business and
But-
most restaurants fail.
So, I mean, the Soviet
I just know what I, as the consumer, want.
Okay, well, it sounds like there are fewer and fewer people that want to eat like you do. Or else
I don't
there'd
think
be
that's
lots
true.
of. Well, then why aren't there lots of these things that you want?
But no, it does. The way you're describing it, like I said, does sound extremely Soviet.
I mean, it's
It's like
just.
the department stores that were run for the benefit of the clerks, right, and not for the benefit of the customer.
I mean, it's essentially just what the soup Nazi does, but with fancier food.
Yeah, and that was the whole purpose of that episode was to lampoon how ridiculous that type of chef is, and how mockable that type of person is.
And what was the comment until they found his recipes in the armoire?
Yeah, and they destroyed him. But the whole point was
but
insane.
what was happening? With lineups out the door, and people were waiting for
of
it.
people debasing themselves. You want to talk about children debasing themselves, like kids at school.
It is a business strategy. That's why every restaurant can't do it. But if one does it, then it's unique.
Oh, it's unique, all right. It's uniquely moronic.
Well, I mean, not if they're printing money. If you say they have very low profit margins, these places seem to be doing well.
Are they? I'd be curious to see how many of them last longer than 3 or 4 years at a shot. Some do, I'm sure. The odd one does. But most of these
that would
ones
be
would flounder on the show.
That would be 3 or 4 times longer than most restaurants.
Great. Enjoy it. If being unpleasant, walking around on eggshells, and doing as you're told, yes, sir, seems like a fun evening out for you, I say go do it.
But no
Have
one is
fun.
doing that.
Enjoy that.
No one is doing that when they go to one of these restaurants. They know what they're getting to when they go into it, and they're like happy to get the food.
That is sad.
That they want like a
Like
good
they're doing
chef.
the chef. Like the chef is doing them a favor by providing
this
them
is
this
very
expensive
main
meal.
charactery. Like you just can't handle it. It's not for you.
You want
That's
like
okay
an
if it's
entire
not for
world
you.
of cheesecake factories.
Yeah.
I like that. Look, when I'm the customer, it should be about me, not the person preparing it, but about me, the consumer.
No one cares about you.
Yeah, but
Actually, that's all they care about. That's what 99.9% of businesses only care about is the consumer.
Yeah, but you're like a Karen customer. They can do without you. You're just too much hassle.
No, I'm an extremely loyal. I'm a great customer. I go to places over and over
We
again
know
because I'm
we
treated
know
well.
this. So these businesses don't even have your business, and the ones that do can treat you like shit, and you keep going back to them.
Well, I mean, there's always breaking points.
Is there?
but
What was the last breaking point with a company that you had?
I haven't had one. Thankfully, I have not been pushed that far yet. But I definitely could be.
What's the
I
closest?
definitely
you
could
come?
be.
When was the last time you went to Swiss Chalet?
Yeah, but I didn't go there very often. I wasn't a loyal, like going there all the time person. But it's been over a decade.
A decade.
What did they do to you?
It wasn't a decade ago.
Yeah, just about. Pretty
What'd
close.
They do to you?
They told me that I bought a meal online. Again, my mistake. I should never have bought it online, and that it didn't arrive. And then 3 hours later, I called, and then they showed up, and I still had to pay for the meal. And it was supposed to be free, and it was just a whole big deal.
Doesn't this sound like a fake story, Geoff?
So I just never went back. I was like, you know what? I just don't need to patronize.
You ordered
idiot.
online?
Yeah. See, that's the part that's
Yeah.
fake about this. We know that he doesn't know how to do that.
Like,
No,
what?
because it was like a coupon that I could use or something.
Really, that you
So
didn't
what?
have to
We
put.
tell you about promotions.
I
all
had
the
to figure
time.
out. I'll tell you what. You'll be proud of me. So I'm going to a Broadway play this week.
You're not going to a
And
Broadway play. You're going.
It's a Broadway. So it is a Broadway play, but it's not on Broadway. This is literally a Broadway play.
Yeah.
It's called Come From Away. It is a Broadway play.
People know what "Come From Away" is.
Yeah, that was
when
in
they
Toronto like 12 years ago.
yeah, when they say
That is-
Broadway
well,
play,
listen,
they usually
12 years
mean
ago.
like
It opened, like,
going
3
to
years
see it
ago.
in Broadway.
Yeah. No, I was about to finish. It's not on Broadway, but it is a Broadway show that's being performed here. Anyway, so I had to find a way to download my tickets onto the Apple Wallet, because that's the way that you can't get a printed ticket to the hockey arena where it's being performed. So I had to figured out how to create an account, open up the tickets, and then upload them into my Apple Wallet. And I'm really proud I was able to do that.
You were able to open an attachment from an email and press add to wallet.
No, it wasn't an attachment to an email. You had to open the email. It was a hyperlink to a website where I had to create an account, and then once the account was created, I could access the tickets through which I could upload them to the Apple Wallet.
I mean,
So I'm not completely technologically devoid here.
yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. You just did
Yeah, we know you
about
are.
the most
That's
challenging
why we
thing.
wonder. We know
I can
you
do the
aren't,
odd thing.
but you act helpless like all the time.
Sometimes I am helpless. But sometimes I'm not.
You were helpless to put in your email and come up with a password you'll use once.
Yeah, I don't even know. Thankfully, my computer or phone or ever saved the password because I don't even remember what it was.
Do you think you'll ever need it again?
If I buy tickets to another type of that event, perhaps.
By the way, Come From Away did open almost to the day 10 years ago. Not 3 years ago.
Okay, but Jeff said 12 years ago, which seemed way too long ago.
Well, his 12 is closer than your 3.
Well, not if we're doing Prices Right rules.
This isn't the Price is Right, Tim.
Anyway,
Were you
I
confused?
just wanted
Hold
to
on.
say-
Were you confused about that? Do you think that I'm Drew Carey?
No. Although, like I said to you the other day, I think that's a TV show they should remake is the Drew Carey show. I liked that show.
Just like you like Master of Disguise.
That's a great movie. They should make a Master of Disguise too. I'd go see it.
You would be the only one. I don't even think Dana Carvey would go see that.
You look like Mimi.
I do not look like
You
me.
do look like Mimi.
No, I don't
That
look
should
like
be
me.
that should be your Halloween costume every single year. Mimi from Drew Carey. Not dead, by the way. I looked it up.
Has she been in anything else?
Yeah, she's you.
No, stop it. Like the actress who played Mimi. I wonder. I don't look anything like Mimi. Stop that.
Do you think that Tim more resembles Mimi from the Drew Carey show, Jeff, or Renee from Storage Wars?
Renee.
What about that stupid character from Guess Who? I can't look like all these people.
Well, yeah, you do look like Franz, but that's a fictional person. Renee is a real person, and you look just like him.
But Mimi's a fictional person.
She's not a drawing.
No, but she's an actor, or she's a character.
Yeah, but you look like the character. You probably don't look like her in real life. You just look like that character.
No, I don't.
I don't know. That's up for the people to decide, I think. Maybe that will be one of the things. We'll see. That will be in the Custies this year. Looks most like Cust. Franz, Renee, or Mimi. Maybe there's others that we're not even thinking of. Thurman Merman from Bad Santa.
I don't look anything like him either.
Paul?
Well, just as like a summary, maybe in the comments section, people can like my general takeaway from all this is Cust kind of seems like a shit customer that like you may not really
I'm an
care
excellent
to have.
customer.
No, he's a poor
Unless your business
tipper.
is really
He
hurting,
shows
like,
up a
do you
minute
want to put
before
up with
closing.
like him not
Shit
really tipping,
customer.
and like accosting your employees?
Yeah, the bad tipping goes a long way, too.
I'm a good
Right.
tipper.
Bad
Really?
customer.
You think you're a good tipper?
I like to think I am. Yes,
You can
not.
think all you can think all you want, but are you?
I think that I am.
You're not.
I'm loyal to the stores that I go to. I'm loyal to the restaurants that I go to. I'm loyal to the TV shows that I watch. You want me as a customer because I'm a lifer.
Cust is a big keep the change type of guy, Jeff. Don't spend it all in
Sure.
one place.
No. Based on like he shows up and eats in like 5 minutes before closing. He's a bad tipper. He's I'm not saying he's a bad customer. Sometimes he's not nearly the customer he thinks he is in his own head.
I think I'm a great customer.
Okay. Tampa Bay at San Francisco. San Francisco gets off the schneid, winning for the first time since Cust said that they would go undefeated. So they've broken that. So that's good news if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan. Atlanta has not won since Cust jumped on their bandwagon. So it's been transferred over to Atlanta now. But they're 11.5-point favorites at home against this Bucs team who has not played very well against really good teams so far this year.
Nope, let's tease them down. It's another part of the teaser.
It's a big teaser.
I love San Francisco here. Yeah, it is a big teaser.
But you said you felt really good.
What do you mean? I do feel really good. I have a teaser and a money line parlay.
That's
But the
what I
money
mean.
line parlay is in later games.
The money line parlay is
it's
just the later games?
It's 3 games in the later stretch.
So it's gonna
we haven't
be-
got to any of those 3 games yet.
Jets, Seattle, and San Francisco is your parlay?
The Jets are not on this parlay.
Oh. There's
But
only
anyhow, no, there's other games. Where was I going to go with this? Yeah, I do think San Francisco should easily take apart the Buccaneers. That's all. When they're high flying, they beat teams and they beat teams by margin.
It's hard to argue with that, Jeff. I am going to take Tampa here. I'm taking a lot of big spreads this week. Just Baker's been good under pressure so far this season. Even when the offensive line hasn't held up completely, he's done a pretty good job at scrambling. One of the higher passer ratings under pressure so far this season. It reminds me, I mean, obviously as it stands right now, the 49ers are much better than the Bills. But I could see this game unfolding very much the same way. Like, their defense is just good enough to make a few stops, maybe turn Purdy over once or twice, that we'll get a shot here with Baker against a soft shell defense to maybe come back and cover the spread. It's a lot of points.
I agree with Tim. I think San Francisco is going to whip them. My only concern for San Francisco is that they play the Thursday night Thanksgiving game versus Seattle, just 4 days after this one. But no, they're going to true havoc for Baker and company.
Can you turn your mic up?
Yeah, sorry.
For whatever reason.
Check.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it goes. You don't have to do the check thing, by the way. People do that all the time. I don't quite understand that.
Check. To be in my defense, I never do that on the live show.
I didn't say that you do. It's not about you. It's about Geoff.
I was going to say I don't do what Geoff does. You say a lot of people do it. I actually wanted to make a point in my favor that I don't say the word check.
Talking to Geoff, and your comment is, "Here's this thing about me."
You're the kid in class that's like, oh, well, I wasn't the one talking to my neighbor, so I shouldn't get detention when the whole class is getting detention. It was Geoff. That's what you're doing.
Well, why should I get detention?
No one said anything to you.
Well, no. Just thought it was an interesting point. In my defense, another instance where I'm better with technology than people think.
You thought, how would that have anything to do with technology? You not saying
it's a microphone. It's a microphone. It's technological.
Yeah, but the part
It's
that I'm
audio.
talking about has nothing to do with the microphone.
Well, it does. You were speaking into the microphone. It's not like it has nothing to do with the microphone.
We never ask you to turn yours down because you'd have a meltdown if we did.
That's the whole thing. We have to get Geoff
Well,
up
I
to
just
your
I
level.
probably would screw it up. I would probably screw it up. But I don't have to yell check. That was my point.
Thank
my
you.
only point. I was making a very subtle one, and all I was looking for was a thank you.
Hold on. Was it a subtle point? Because like 14 seconds ago, you said it was an interesting point, which it is not.
It's both.
It is not
It's
interesting.
both.
Your quest for credit, man.
Jets and Buffalo. Buffalo is still favored by 7 at home, coming off the loss on Monday night. The Jets obviously coming off a loss on Sunday Night Football where they failed to score a touchdown. Geoff, do you think that the Damar Hamlin hologram forgot that he's supposed to be playing a real person on that final play, and that's why there was too many men on the field?
Okay, so I'm not going to criticize Lamar. There's
Damar.
too many, there's too many factors. I don't like a coach might have sent him on. He made his tackle. You guys were on a few of them, but I was sent a tweet probably like 50 times today. A horrific tweet.
It really is a horrific tweet. I had a friend send it to me, and my only response was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, and people can make fun of me or the angle that I took this year. I wouldn't retweet that. I wouldn't hit like on that. I will not glad hand the people that I know were having fun who sent that to me. That was like, holy shit. The internet is wild. Yeah. So there. I wish I think it was beautiful. He made the tackle. And despite me thinking that I don't think like an odd or an award should go to him, that doesn't mean I want anything bad to happen to the guy who made the tackle. I kind of said he's got to just make a tackle. He made the tackle, or supposedly made. But yeah, that's bad if it was his fault. But there's a lot of factors potentially.
I'm taking the Jets.
I don't know, man. This is hard. because I think the spread is too big, but at the same time, the Jets don't score. Is Josh Allen going to once again throw his team out of a game? I guess one of the theories I've been rolling with this year, it's been proven right a heck of a lot more than it's been proven wrong, which is that some teams are just good matchups for other teams. And the Jets happen to be a good matchup for Buffalo. So I'll take the Jets, I guess, +7. I don't love it.
It's almost the same theory that I'm rolling with here, Geoff, that Josh Allen just struggles against the Jets. So take the Jets.
Yeah, I think Tim didn't have much to say, but I think it's been proven. It's just a bad matchup. It's not a team you want to play when you are trying to dig up on offense.
No. However, there is we've talked about it week after week, that the team, and it happened to Baltimore again last week, that whatever the super hype team is going in, everyone's like, oh yeah, Baltimore, best team in the AFC, better than Kansas City. What do? They blow a lead against the Browns. Because, of course, it's happened so many times this season. I wonder if it works in the opposite way, that everyone's just pouring dirt on the Bills this week. It's over for the Bills. Josh Allen sucks now. The team is in shambles. They're 2-1 to make the playoffs at this point, that maybe they just come out and just stomp the Jets.
Maybe they do. That is in the range of outcomes. They have the quarterback to do it. Like Tim said, the Jets are so bad, it can honestly look like the Charger game. One scoop and score or something from special teams, and then just a couple nibbles enough from Allen, and a game you do nothing, you win by double digits. That is very possible, but I think about Bills versus Giants. I think about Bills versus Broncos. They lost to Mac Jones. I just think the Jets can, even if the Bills win, I think it'll be an ugly, weird one. They'll be lucky. When you play the Jets, winning the box score doesn't matter. So it's a tough spot for Josh Allen, who's probably feels pressure and desperation in some ways to win the box score. You just got to win the game and save your season and hope to beat Miami again and get on the right track if you're the Bills. But it's a round of Jets. I wouldn't tease the Jets.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
Tim has a bet on this game already anyway.
What is it?
Oh, I do. Yeah. Another eating bet.
Yeah, I'm going to make a full roasted potato or tomato in the air fryer if the Bills win, and Tim will have to eat it live on the show this week.
Why are you agreeing to eating foods
we
won't
don't
know? I don't know.
We don't know.
Spend an
But he keeps
evening
doing
picking
it.
them out of a nice restaurant.
I guess I just am slavishly devoted to the content.
I think you're not
It's
thinking
good.
about these
It's
things.
good TV.
I don't know how good you eating the mushrooms was. It was just a lot of. Ugh.
It was awful. It was literally just that taste in your mouth is your body telling you to spit that stuff out.
And then he ate a Kit Kat like a psychopath, Geoff.
Yeah, but people know that my position is that you just eat a Kit Kat whole. That's not a new revelation.
Yeah, but people hadn't
to
seen it.
see it.
Paul.
Tim, you think I say something silly, you like to accuse me of my Dukakis moment. I'd say 80% of the time, whether you're eating food on camera or talking about food, any food-related thing is your Dukakis moment. You can't stop getting into that tank, buddy.
Paul, you had something to say?
Tim, do you like ketchup?
I hate ketchup.
Okay.
What do you eat your
What about
fries
pasta
with?
sauce, like tomato sauce?
Mustard. I don't mind marinara
Ew.
sauce, but if there's big tomatoes in it, I
tomato.
won't eat it. I know, but I can pick out. I can live with marinara. I know it's irrational.
Kind of
It's like pizza sauce.
childish.
Say it again. What do you
And
pick
you like
out?
chili, I know.
What do you pick out of your marinara sauce?
Like the hunks of tomato. If there's hunks in there, I will take
Oh
those
my
out.
god.
I know. I'm not
judging.
even defending it in terms of rationality. It's just
And you would do that at a really nice, I'm not talking about ragu
Yes.
in a can.
Yes, I would.
You would do it at such a fresh,
Yes.
freshly made pasta.
Yeah, I'm not
fresh-
eating things I don't want to eat. I'm sorry. I go to a restaurant not to be on Fear Factor.
fear factor.
Essentially, what you think I should be doing.
Asking you to eat spiders? What are you talking about?
You
You're
might as
afraid
well.
of tomatoes.
No, just they're vile.
So are you saying that since you've eaten a mushroom on the show and if the Jets lose, then you're going to have to eat a tomato, but eating tomatoes is equivalent with eating spiders, that next week you'll eat spiders on the show?
No, I will not eat spiders.
How
on the
come?
show. We need to get back to good stuff.
Grasshoppers? What would you eat?
Oh, I had fried crickets when I was in Mexico. Top-notch stuff.
I wouldn't be opposed to eating those.
Really?
They're not really up my alley, but I would try them.
You would try
If they were cooked
fried
by somebody who knew how to properly prepare them,
I mean,
I'd try one.
Throwing them in a fucking deep fryer.
I would attempt one.
I don't think that you would. You're the guy that can't see. You can't have a tomato touch anything on your plate, or you like lose your mind.
I'd prefer it didn't. Like I've had to throw away hamburger buns from like Wendy's or Burger King if the tomato has touched the bun. I just can't.
You are such a...
I can't. I don't want the tomato seeds or juice having been imparted into the sandwich or into the bread. I just can't.
You can just get rid of all the bread. Just order
Well,
like
you could.
three
You could.
JBCs and just put those together and eat them like that.
You could get them wrapped in lettuce. They will do that.
I prefer the no bun to the lettuce, although I do like the crunch of the lettuce, and I like lettuce. I don't know. I don't find it's a good container for holding things. Like I've tried the lettuce tacos from time to time, and just I find stuff falls out of them too much.
I'll tell you what is really good. It's using red pepper as like the bread of a sandwich.
Where are you finding these
Slice
giant
of
red
like
peppers?
slice a red pepper in half.
Yeah.
Remove the seeds, and then put your sandwich meat and your condiment inside both sides of the red pepper, and put it together and eat it like a sandwich.
See, I like bread too much for that.
It's pretty delicious, and plus red peppers are pretty delicious. So
I like red peppers, but I would prefer, if I was going to eat a sandwich, I think I would just prefer bread.
I'm just saying, it's delicious.
Okay. Good to know. So round of Jets for everyone. Seattle and the Rams. The Rams are only a 1-point dog at home. Yet I have not seen anywhere, Geoff, stating that Matthew Stafford is starting this game and that he's healthy. Have I missed that? Has that been said and I'm just haven't been paying attention? Or are they just...
I feel like there was a report yesterday that their intention is for him to play.
Sure, but is he fine?
I have no idea if he's fine.
Yeah, it just
I
seems...
assume he's not fine.
I assume that he
I like
is...
Seattle a lot. I'm picking Seattle.
I assume that he is fine if the spread is 1 in this game.
And Seattle is the first part of my money line parlay.
I'm going to take the Rams on the same premise where I took the Jets, is that sometimes teams play other teams really well. The Rams play Seattle really well.
I'm taking the Rams. Seattle plays the 49ers 4 days after this one. This is an ugly one. I have no interest in it.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Sean McVay has Pete Carroll's number.
That's certainly true, but I think the Seattle team, I continue to believe the Seattle team is a competitor in the NFC, like to be in the Final Four in the NFC, and I think it's a very talented team.
Yeah,
I think they are significantly enough better than the Rams that in a place where the Rams don't have a home field advantage indoors on a fast track, I like Seattle here quite a bit.
I mean, the Rams already went into Seattle and beat them this year.
That was week 1 when they were fully healthy.
Okay, I mean,
Stafford's coming off a bit of an injury, and I think the Rams have certainly sort of moved backwards in the last few weeks, and I continue to be pretty bullish on Seattle. So
you do continue to be pretty bullish on Seattle, and they are tied for the division lead with the Niners right now. The Final Four, I could see it, but I feel like they're closer to the Minnesota tier than they are Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, and Niners.
I almost feel like they're on a tier.
They're the
with
next team.
Dallas, right?
I
feel like
I put it this way.
Yeah, San Francisco and Philadelphia are in the first tier, and then there's a gap, and then Dallas and Seattle are in the next tier.
It's hard to argue that.
And Detroit's in that top level too. Sorry, so Detroit, San Francisco, and Philly are in the top tier. Seattle and Dallas are in the next tier together.
There's just something in my bones, Geoff, that tells me that Dallas is better than Seattle, and I could be way off base on that.
No, my bones would say the same thing.
I would trust Carroll and that team over McCarthy and that team in a playoff game.
You picked
They're playing
Dallas
in the playoffs.
first overall. In the
I know
whole
I
league
did.
Draft.
I know I did. But you're asking me, based on having seen over half of a season, in a one-game playoff game, who would I pick to win it? I think I would trust Seattle more than Dallas.
Here's the issue the reason not to take Seattle in like one of these key end matchups is that Geno has been bad this year. And he's nowhere near the guy who was awesome last year. He's more like
nobody pulled it together at the end of last week.
That's great. He beat Washington, man. Washington's terrible.
They're laying 10 points this week. How bad can they be?
I can tell you who they're 10 points better than, and I picked against them. But it came down to the wire against Washington. Like, this is a team that should have lost to New England last week.
Those are all very fair points.
It's just Seattle's defense is the thing. And listen, Washington was able to move the ball on them. A lot of that was Brian Robinson related out of the backfield, catching passes, which he doesn't normally do. So a good scheme from Washington and Bieniemy to try to catch them off guard. But that's where Seattle is making its bones right now, is on defense. The offense is stagnant, and Geno's kind of bad. Like every time, I guess they went into Detroit and beat the Lions, so they can most definitely do it. And I do think that they are probably the fifth best team in the NFC, but they feel like they're off on their own little island right now. Like there's way better than like the Saints and the Falcons and those crap teams. But like the Vikings, yeah, they're better than the Vikings, but I don't think it's by that much.
Fair enough. But they think they're better than the Rams. And I'm only having to lay one with them against a team that has no home field advantage. So,
do we know that they don't have a home field advantage?
Well, Geoff will tell you.
Like in this game?
The Ram fans gonna pack the house for a Rampede for a 3-6 Rams team?
No, but I think it's different. I think that there are substantially more Rams fans than Chargers fans in Los Angeles who go to these games, for one thing. And two, you're also now expecting like Seattle. I don't know how many Seahawks fans that you're just randomly going to get at this game versus some of the other teams who have more historic franchise, non-division rival. Like, you know, they just saw this game 8 weeks ago in Seattle.
Again, I think it just comes down to the same thing. They're just the population of that greater LA area has more than enough transplants.
Yeah, but you know what?
Seattle.
I think there are more Rams fans in Los Angeles than there is Seahawks fans.
Sure, but those Rams fans aren't going to the game. That's the difference.
But this is a chance where you can actually outdraw the opposing team.
It'll maybe 50-50 at best. Trust yeah, trust me. You'll see the pictures. They'll be like
sure, but I think the whole point is like sometimes like if the Cowboys
I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think I think the home field thing is a bit overrated just because we've seen home field doesn't really play that huge of a factor at all anymore. They even started to take points out of it in the spread, and the Rams and Chargers at this point are just used to playing it, so it's not a huge disadvantage to them anymore.
And I agree. I don't think to your, I guess, main point, it's not going to be like an invasion game, but I still think it will be 50-50 on a floor, as is any game.
Yeah, it won't be that Niners game that we saw in the playoffs. Was it last year or the year before? Where it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, no.
Like, there's only Niners fans here.
Yeah. It was tough to tell last week how many Lions fans were there because their shade of blue and Chargers blue is so close that at first glance you couldn't really tell who were the Lions fans and who were the Chargers.
There were
fans.
plenty. You heard them after their big play.
You gonna ever wear your alternate jerseys? I mean, this is now week 11. You still didn't wear them. You ever gonna wear them, or is this just it, Geoff?
A younger me that cared more would be able to tell you exactly when we're wearing them, but I don't give a shit.
You, sir, are no
Hopefully
young me.
Sunday Night Football.
Minnesota and Denver on Sunday Night Football.
Don't you wish you could fade? Like,
both these teams?
if these two teams were playing anyone else, wouldn't you be wanting to fade them? Both?
Yeah,
Yes,
I tried that with the Vikings last week, even though my stance all season is that the Saints are absolute dog shit. And I was like, no, I'll play the Saints. Bad idea. Saints are terrible. I'm going to take the Vikings.
So Denver, which has been a bit of a new thing. I know the Chargers did it a week ago after their Jets game, which intentionally spent Monday night in Buffalo, did Denver, with the intention of just getting a good night's sleep and flying out first thing in the morning. It is a decent strategy potentially, but it really backfires when your plane malfunctions in the morning. Denver had a really hard time getting home today. So I don't know if their week's a bit behind the eight ball, but I'm gonna trust this Josh Dobbs thing one more time. Like as long as Tim's gonna keep bashing it.
I'm not bashing it. Michael Block was a great story in the PGA Championship. Dobbs is a great story in the NFL, but now we're moving to outdoors in the cold in a tough environment against a team that's sort of showing a little bit of life. I don't expect this to go very well for Minnesota. I like the Broncos. The Broncos are also on my money line parlay. I think this line is too short. I think Denver should be getting the full 2.5 or 3. So the fact that it's 2 makes me think, really? People really like Josh Dobbs here? Okay, like maybe he'll do well, but I feel like this is going to be a lot like the RCGA, a lot more like the Canadian Open than the PGA Championship. Let's just put it that way.
I would just go through it and just trying to think through the game. And I think these two teams are very similar. And Russell Wilson, better than Josh Dobbs, sure. Justin Jefferson coming back for Minnesota. KJ Osborne coming back for Minnesota. Madison likely to be out, but now they're going to have Ty Chandler in the backfield. And Dobbs has been pretty good, to be perfectly honest with you, all season long. He's been all right. I saw in fantasy, he's like the number 5 quarterback or something like that for the season, which is shocking to think about. But just evenly matched teams, and yes, Denver's getting better. Russell's been good. The receivers still don't do anything at all, but they've started to run the ball a little bit better. And we think about units in the game, and maybe the Broncos defense has gotten a lot better since they gave up 70 points to Miami. But Minnesota's defense, Geoff, has just been straight up good with Brian Flores. They're top 10 right now.
They figured something out with all those although Russ seemed to know when that zero blitz was coming versus the Bills.
Except for the one time they got him late and then he was able to get out the next play. That big blitz from the Bills blew up as often as it worked for them.
Yeah, but that's all the Bills got at this point. Like, let's not forget that the Bills
but the Vikings do it all the time.
The Vikings have been doing it all year, and they're a top 10 defense. They've done it to good teams. They've done it to bad teams. They actually have they have the guys on the back end who can make this work and actually get there and come through with it. The Bills just have they've had the worst over the past month. They've had like a historically bad defense, and the Broncos can only put up 24 on them. The Bills should be giving up more points here. So if you're not catching the Bills, like you should be catching the Bills almost every time. Whereas the Vikings, like they're coming with blitzes, but they're coming with blitzes from everywhere. You know where they're coming from, and they have the back end to make it work. Whatever Flores has done with his voodoo magic, it's working.
Denver played with half a field last night. Their starting field position was incredible, and they didn't score nearly enough points against a shitty defense in current form, as Pat has pointed out, which is obvious to anyone who watches the Bills too.
The biggest, actually, I'm just looking at the numbers right now. The biggest gap in this game, Denver is second in special teams. Tim, you'll like this. Minnesota, 31st.
Yeah, that is screaming for a punt return or a blocked kick or something.
Yeah, so some way for Minnesota.
Although you wouldn't know it from last night. That Denver had great special teams.
Yeah, but I mean,
2 botched extra points, and then
they had great kick returns. They were getting hidden yards too in that game. Trust me.
Can I just also underline, I have never in my entire life, and maybe I'll never see it again, where a team willingly chooses to have the fire drill happen at the end of the game to win.
Yeah,
but
crazy.
Denver decided that the way we should end this game is to have everybody running on the field.
But they did it. They nailed it perfectly going to half.
Oh, and they did, but that was not a choice. It was like, no, that's just the way it sort of fell on them. I would have been more happy.
They were lined up to kick that field goal. There was like 11 seconds left. They had all the time in the world.
It worked. I'm just saying I've never, ever, ever seen that before.
Jeff, you're taking Minnesota.
But you're right.
Denver.
That can't be good for the kicker's heart rate because then he needs like a moment to calm down once he's like chugged ass onto the field.
And he missed it.
He did. And then apparently someone made a mistake.
Oh, see, now why did you need to say that? You didn't need to say that. That's
coaches,
just a needless.
The coaches.
After some of the things you said last night, which, I'm not even going to bring up because, for your own dignity, I don't need to repeat some of the things. At one point last night, if I'm not mistaken, I'll put on my prosecutor hat here, you denied whether it was, in fact, in the balance, whether he would survive in the days after that incident. You didn't think that was true.
Agree. There was like 2 days later, you still thought he was going to die?
The next day, people were very concerned. He was in critical condition for days on end.
I don't want
And you were just
made his tackle. He's made his tackle. What
you
are
were
you
just
doing to me?
you were just hand waving that away last night as if it wasn't a big deal, saying that people who came back from knee
now
injuries
I'm going to incriminate
went through a
myself.
lot
I'm going to
worse than him.
incriminate myself. I'm going to incriminate myself, and I'm good at that.
Are you taking Minnesota or Denver?
Minnesota. I don't even think it's close to me. Like Kyler Murray is already
I mean, here's the
dedication to
thing.
get back on the
It's very
field.
clearly not obvious to you because you bet against it. To everyone else, it's pretty obvious.
No, I didn't bet against anything. I bet
Yes, you
against
did.
a horrible number. I don't have any individual player.
Yeah, you have the field against the story, and everyone just.
And I can still bet I can still bet Hamlin today and be guaranteed to win money.
Then why don't you do that?
Because he doesn't want to profit from that win. That's why.
I see.
He's really become your biggest rival this year, even though you don't think he is. He really is.
He is.
That's not even. No, I wish. See, now you're me.
It comes up every week.
No.
That little dig that you made there 30 seconds ago when you didn't have to, but how somebody was on the field and it caused too many men.
You mentioned the kick. You mentioned that they
Yeah,
missed
you
the
didn't
fire
have to.
drill.
You didn't have to bring him up. You brought him up just so that you could take a whack because it made you
No,
feel
why
good.
is it him? Why is he the 12th man? There's 12 guys out there. Why is
I'm
he
not saying
getting
it
labeled
was.
as the
Why
12th
did-
man?
But
And-
yet
and
you
he
were
did-
bringing it up.
And he didn't bring it up. He brought up that they missed the field goal because of too many men. He didn't say who it was about. You brought
He
that
said,
up.
I don't
he
think
said,
he's
and
responsible
somebody-
for.
This,
I
this,
don't
this
know.
is what this
He
is what Tim
smiled
is.
like the
This is
Cheshire
what
Cat.
Tim is resorting to right now because he had to eat a mushroom like a little kid on the show, and it got into his head, and now he thinks he's going to lose, Geoff. Although no one cared anyway. But this is where he's at. He's just
Yeah,
trying to
but I
pry.
also-
He texted us last night like, Geoff is for sure going to win. Everyone is hearing him. I was like, I don't want to like besmirch Rob here. I don't think that everyone watching the show was just
I
randomly
was
tuning.
watching the show. My jaw was on the floor as I listened
Here's
to
the
Geoff.
thing, Geoff
on
can,
the floor.
Geoff can be as crazy as he wants in private. No one's seeing it.
Hold on, but what did I say? I said no.
We have a
doubted whether he was in
hard
critical
out
condition.
on the show.
There was one game left.
Geoff.
Sorry.
Tim's the one making it go longer. Who's the one who has the hard out? Paul?
Just so we're clear, questions for Geoff. Fuck, marry, kill. Palestine, Damar Hamlin, and Solly.
Who's Sully?
The guy from No Laying Up that Geoff has like a blood feud with.
Oh. I don't even keep track of these at this point.
We do.
Again, I think my behavior has been great since Christmas.
Well, with exceptions.
No, I don't. Firstly,
Tim-
I object to like peace and love, everybody, harmony. Let's find some.
But
yeah,
Tim,
I
your
don't know how
move
else to
here
answer
is
that.
send
Slowly would be the fucking kill. Because
Peace and love.
What?
You're like peace and love. But here's who I'd see die.
Well, I think people like there's some low hanging fruit there that I'm not gonna fall for. I want peace and love.
What you need to do,
But as
Tim,
for the other
is
issues,
just send Geoff a bunch of bottles of like Tito's, and then maybe he'll drink one of those bottles and get into internet fights with people.
Okay, listen, yeah, and you never know. I'll be in San Diego over Christmas. I'm sure people will be busy. It's possible that I'll be staying off the internet. I will not do that again. I admit that was a low point. I apologize. I was wrong. That was probably unnecessary. But other than that, like anyone that I take shots at, like it's all punching up. Like I only punch up now. I don't punch down.
So to get this clear, you're marrying Damar? Because there's no way you're marrying Palestine.
Okay, that's actually not even close. Marry Damar. I really like Damar Hamlin. That thing was the scariest incident ever. I am Other
You didn't think so,
people
you didn't
can
think
have
so
fair
last
and-
night.
Other people can have fair and balanced conversations about the betting element of it. I am unable to. I put my foot in my mouth. So I say something silly, but at its core, it's just me being like, that number is crazy. Players are going to contribute to their team's success. And that's what it is. And now he's made his tackle. Good for Mary DeMar. I love DeMar Hamlin. I love him more than Sean McDermott does, having to keep him on the roster.
Can I see an imitation of the tackle? Since you did such a great imitation of him watching the kickoffs go over his head.
People like that. I know that could be such a small thing. What's the difference between no tackles, one tackle? That is like incredibly significant to me. It is. It's a clear statistic, and that was important for his quest. I don't think he can lose now that he made his tackle, to be honest. Doesn't mean I agree.
I gotta put just a moratorium.
I'm ready to move on. I don't know.
I don't. I just it's so fucking boring to listen to at this point.
I agree too. It's done. This was an August, September thing. But he made a tackle last night, so props to him.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Tim was asking for impressions. Like, I don't do impressions. He's the impressions guy.
Yeah, well, I don't think we need to see you do a DeMar Hamlin impression, Geoff.
Yeah, and I don't want to dive on my floor to pretend to tackle someone. Tim thinks he can tackle Derrick Henry. I'm not stupid. I don't do tackles.
Philly and KC, Monday Night Football. They've bookended this week. Do you think this was strategic on the NFL's part? They fed us these shit primetime games on Thursday and Monday for 2 months, and then we get to week 11 when people are getting fed up, Tim, and they're like, hey, check out this slate. This is pretty good.
Well, if they did, I appreciate that at least they're finally giving us some good games because this is great. And the Sunday night game doesn't look like super interesting, but it could be fun. But the Thursday and Monday games look great. Both these teams get to come off bye, too, so they're about as healthy as they're going to get for a Super Bowl rematch.
No coincidence there either.
That what?
Like, this is a methodically placed football game that had both teams coming off a bye. Like, so there's like, they wanted it to be as equal as possible. That was like a proactive thinking by the league in orchestrating this Super Bowl rematch. There was so much heat on the Chiefs for losing their Miami home game, but their home schedule was ridiculous this year. And they decided this, like, think about the games they played at home. So they were going to lose a great game regardless. And they don't send division overseas. I don't think we've ever seen division overseas. But like, it was methodical by the league to have this spot with both of them off the bye. I don't know. I hate having to pick this game, but I'm going to bet it good because it's a TV special.
You have no opinion, refuse to make a pick.
I heard it too.
But you're going to make a big bet on it, are you?
Like a bigger than, like, I don't have a strong opinion Thursday nighter because the game just feels really important.
Feels like
I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker.
Those statements do not line up with responsible gaming.
You need to call 1-800-GAMBLER, sir.
This just has a big game feel. When games have a big game feel, like, I'll dip harder. So I will dip harder, but I don't know what bucket I'm dipping in. Laying anything, a field goal or less with Mahomes seems easy and obvious, but I'm so stupid. I like the revenge factor in sports. So I'm a mark. I'm a square. I'm exactly what the books want. A guy who's going to overbet a primetime game.
I love Philadelphia, Tim.
Interesting. I'm going to go the other way. I love Kansas City. What's Reed's record coming off a bye, including the 2 Super Bowls? It's extraordinary.
Sure. But
18-10.
Including the 2 Super Bowl wins?
I don't know about the Super Bowls.
But those are off by. It's extraordinarily good number.
Sirianni 2-0.
You're telling me these 2 teams are equal. Okay. like the Eagles have looked shaky too in a lot of their wins, as have the Chiefs. But you're giving me Mahomes and fewer than 3 points and at home. And I just feel like that opportunity comes around once every other year, it seems. Like it doesn't come around often to get Mahomes this cheap at home. So I'm going to take this opportunity.
I understand the logic with this. I just try to think about how these two teams are styled in this iteration of them. That if you want to get to Philly, you need to pass all over them. Now, with Mahomes on one side, he can most definitely do that. I think we're going to see Kelsey have one of those like 13 catches for 176 yards, and like the next closest guy on the Chiefs is going to have 20 yards receiving. That it's going to be all Kelsey all the time and nothing else. And is that going to be good enough for the Eagles to get outscored? I don't think it is. And we're going to see, I just think the bye came at a really good time for the Eagles to get Hurts healthy and make him a bit more mobile again, because that's really been stymieing their offense the past few weeks. And you know, it's shown up, and they're still scoring points, and he's still passing great out of the pocket. But if you add in that extra dimension to him again, I think it's going to look a lot like the first half of the Super Bowl last year, not the second half.
So in the Super Bowl, Kelsey had 6 catches.
Mm-hmm. But this Eagles defense is much different this time around than it is right now.
It's probably less. It's probably less skilled than it was.
It was
in the Super Bowl, right?
It was, but that means Kelsey's going to do more in this game than he was going to do in that game. But I just don't think that the other options can do much against him unless Mahomes forces it to happen, that Justin Watson has a big game, or God forbid they play Rashee Rice more than 50% of their snaps. I just don't know if they have the other weapons to capitalize on this, and there's going to be like no ground game to speak of. We already talked about how good the Eagles' run defense is. So they just kind of filter everything to Kelsey. Kelsey's going to eat. Kelsey's going to get his. And then can they stop Philadelphia? And I don't know if they can. I don't think that they can.
Interesting. I mean, they didn't stop them in the Super Bowl. They were unable to. Goddard played a pretty big role in that game. He will not be involved in this game. I don't know. I think we're going to see a game very similar to the one that we saw back in February. It's going to be a 3-point game, and you're getting a spread under 3 points with the Chiefs. I think this might have been what the spread was in the Super Bowl, right? Anyway, I like the Chiefs. I get why you might like the Eagles. I think it's a fun, exciting matchup. I don't think any team is really that much better than the other. To me, it's just a pure play. I'm still not convinced that Jalen Hurts that 1 week is going to be enough to heal up Jalen Hurts. And I have Mahomes, so that's why I'm going that way.
It's interesting that if you think it's going to be a field goal game and one team is getting plus 2.5, you wouldn't take that side.
If it were -3, then you could talk me into it. But it's under a field goal. I feel like I just need the winner here.
So KC wins by 2. Geoff, what do you think?
I like the Eagles. It's my lean as of this recording, but that could change.
You're not confused about betting big on this game. You're just confused about whom you're going to bet big.
Yeah. Agreed. I will overbet this game responsibly. Eagles, small lean, could change.
Small lean, big bet.
Oh, God. I'm actually going to take it easy this week.
Sounds like it. Geoff,
No, I am.
Geoff, you're coming off a bad week. There's only one way to get your money back. Bet harder.
Yeah, dig up.
No. Tone it down.
All right.
And I don't know, like golf. This is the last golf event till the new year, right?
Oh, who'd you bet?
I bet Davis Thompson.
Me too. 60-1.
And JT Poston, but that seems popular and that's got no chance. I didn't really look at it at all. I could make other bets, but I got no feel for that either. To be
Isn't there a
honest.
golf event with Tiger and his son later in December?
Yeah, Justin Thomas plays with his dad. John Daly
Okay,
plays
yeah,
Little
so-
John. That's not a real event.
Yeah. But if Tiger's playing,
More people will watch that than whatever they're going to roll out this week.
Oh,
dude,
probably.
when Tiger
If
plays
Ti-
on the
if Tiger's
Champions Tour, more people are going to watch the Champions Tour than the random PGA events when Tiger's playing.
I don't think
I agree with that. I
don't
agree
think-
with that. The
I don't
PGA is
think
going to be
that-
overshadowed those weeks.
I don't think the Tiger's ever going to play on the Champions Tour.
Do you want to bet?
Not really, but I just don't think he's ever going to do it.
I think he's already spoken about it. He's looking forward to it. He's going to play.
Does he get to play in a cart?
Yeah, you do.
Do you? You can play in a cart on the Champions Tour?
Yeah, John Daly. So many guys use carts.
No.
Yeah, but John Daly was doing it because of the Americans with Disabilities Act that required them to allow him to use a cart.
No, there's carts out there. Absolutely.
How did John Daly win that case, but Casey Martin couldn't?
Well, one
Senior
had to
tour,
do,
maybe.
yeah, I don't know, but he was allowed to ride around in a cart at the PGA Championship.
Yeah. Is that because it's the PGA of America, not the PGA Tour?
I suspect that must be the reason. I don't quite know all the ins and outs of it.
So I got 3 for you, Jeff. I got Thompson at 60, Horschel at 50. Horschel owes me money from this event when he had it won and then lost in that 6-man playoff to Mackenzie Hughes. And I also bet Siwoo, who's like been terrible at this tournament, but he's won at every other course that makes you good at this tournament.
I liked Horschel. There's like a prototype for this sort of course.
Yeah.
So
Heritage,
just, am I
Sony,
betting?
yeah, like those guys.
Am I betting on
Siwoo.
prototype or off prototype? But yeah, and I almost said that like I look forward to golf actually being gone for a month.
Yeah, me too. When we can get all fired up. You can play in the one and done, by the way. You can register for that right now. It starts at the Sony Open the second week of January. But you probably want to get your spot in the one and done right now. It's $200 to play this year. It's $80,000 to first place. So we didn't increase the amount of people that are in the tournament, but we've increased the fee to go up for it so we can have more money in the prize pool, which is always great. It fills super quickly once we get right around New Year's Day, so you might as well just get one of your 5 spots or all 5 of your spots right now. It's a season-long tournament. It goes from January to the middle of August, so it's like $6 a week or something like that.
And you should take it as a personal insult if Tim can buy tickets online and sign up for that, but can't now enter your contest and make a pick.
That's true. He's really outed himself there as someone who can sign up for things on the internet.
I can do some things. I can do some things, but I can't do other things.
Can you do that? That's exactly. There's no difference.
He can
between
do that. He can order on the McDonald's app, right? You could.
I've never ordered on the app.
We found out 10 years ago he was able to order online.
Yeah, I was able to click a button. It was very user friendly.
This is also very user friendly.
I'm not even going to doubt that. It may be. I'm
Then-
not here
then-
to
then you
express
should-
an opinion. I guess.
Then you should play in the race for the Mayo Cup this year. Link
I will try.
is down in the description. But you see, you've never even tried before. You just say,
Wish I
okay.
had played last year. I had a really good one and done year. Wish I had tried.
I don't know if you would have made the money last year.
Probably not, because I suspect you probably have to win like 8 tournaments in a thing this large to win.
No, you don't have to win. If you get 8 winners throughout the course of the season, you're going to win the $80,000.
Fair enough. I only hit 2 winners, although one was a major, so maybe that boosts it up. But
Yeah, but the majors weren't worth significantly more than the elevated events, unfortunately.
that's true.
Anyway, Super Locks for this week. Where are you guys going with? Jeff, you have to get off the mat here.
It has not been good, and my losses have been really close, but doesn't count. San Francisco, ass whipping.
Going big. We're going home. Minus 10.5. San Francisco. I'm going to take Miami.
I'm joining you, Patrick.
We're both taking Miami minus
Yeah,
12.
I'm taking Miami minus 12. I'm with you.
I
I don't think the Raiders put up much. I just think of that Raiders-Buffalo game from week 2, and it was an absolute just destruction. And I feel like it's going to be very similar to that game.
I would tend to agree with you. This is
The Bears beat the Raiders by 1 million points this year, which tells you all you need to know.
They are 5-5 though.
They are 5-5, and against teams that can't score, like Denver in week 1, the Jets last week, like against teams that struggle to score, they can win. Miami loves to crush bad teams. Well, if we believe the Raiders aren't that great, anyway, I love the Fish this week too.
Okay, so Miami, and San Francisco. All double-digit spreads is what we're taking as Super Locks. You know how well this tends to go. But I am out of Survivor, so no more picks for me, but continue. Actually, don't make your picks in the restart Survivor, because I'm still alive in that, so I don't want other people to win. I want to win the $5,000. But you have 2 free money plays this week, Tim, so...
Yeah, I don't usually do this, but I love the board so much I have a double play for the people.
Before Thanksgiving.
I know, and there'll be a Pilgrim parlay next week. Don't you worry. You'll get two more bites of the apple next week. So the teaser is a 7-point teaser for you all. It is Arizona, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Miami, and San Francisco. And I have a money line parlay for the people as well. Seattle, the Chiefs, and the Broncos.
What does that pay?
Hold on a sec. I just had to delete it because
Why wouldn't you do that on the spreads?
no.
He wants money line.
Yeah, I just want to play the money line. I don't need to get even though you're right, I probably just need to win. I just don't need it getting blown up by something weird, right?
And it pays plus 461. Although in real time, although we got the number at 2.5, what we were talking about earlier, the Eagles are now +3 real time on.
Yeah.
DraftKings
See,
Sportsbook.
I would at +3. I'm far less anxious about laying the 3 points with the Chiefs.
Far more anxious.
Yeah, more anxious. That hook to me is enough to be like, I still think the Chiefs will win and maybe they'll probably cover, but I'm not nearly as emphatic about it.
All right. Well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. I want to thank Paul and the Coin and Geoff and me and you and Tim Undercust
Tim and August.
That's not my name.
for being on the line today. All right. You going to leave that now that you're so technologically savvy? Are you going to leave that rating and review for the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast by subscribing, setting auto downloads, and leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify in order to get into the Ship It Nation Toe Tag and Tambo potential $30,000 giveaway?
I mean, I would like to help things out and I will, but I feel like I'm ineligible for the money. So,
Can you leave the review anyway?
I mean, I already have auto downloads and I've already subscribed and I'm pretty sure reviewed it a long time ago, but I'm sure I could do it again.
Yeah, you should go see if you actually have a review in there. I don't know. Jeff's trying to do it right now. I assume that's what he's doing on his phone.
Yep. I'm looking at Grey Cup odds.
Who do you like in the Grey Cup, Jeffrey?
We don't talk about that here.
Jeff
You
knows.
brought it up.
You can ask. Yeah, I don't know.
You're
You
gonna
ask
say
Cam.
Yeah, Cam is the one to ask on this. Cam will be all about it and how much better the CFL is than the NFL.
It's in Hamilton. Green Day's doing halftime.
That we know because they keep advertising it on TV.
It's true. It's true. You can't escape that fact here.
We chatted about it on Sunday afternoon that like Green Day is actually playing, and that's actually really cool.
I don't know how cool it is.
Wasn't it whose bucket list band was that to go see?
Our friend who's seen like all the bands, it's funny because the first concert I ever went to was a Green Day concert on Halloween night in 1995.
Wow.
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 So that was almost 30 years ago.
My first concert was an Our Lady Peace concert. Probably closer to like 98, 97, maybe.
Like heyday of Our Lady Peace, like right when Clumsy came out.
Maple Leaf Gardens, Our Lady Peace. Yeah. I was probably in grade 7 or something.
Yeah, I think I was in the 5th grade at this time because I also saw Moist that year at the Dow campus bar.
What was your first concert, Tim? Rita McNeil?
No.
Anne Murray,
and
Jeff?
I'm not even a big country music fan, but Alan Jackson was the first concert I went to go see.
It's funny because I don't know. I know who that is, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah, like my grandmother's a huge country music fan, and she didn't want to go alone.
Yeah,
So I said, yeah, I'll go. And so I'm not a huge. I like older country music a little bit, but whatever. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it.
See, I had a family member who was very into country music around the same time, and like Alan Jackson was like the bee's knees. It's just I had never nothing I consumed over like a 10-year period ever brought up Alan Jackson.
No,
it's like a
fair
whole
enough. And
country music was a whole separate world back then.
it still is.
Yeah,
It still is. Like there's the odd crossover. Like Taylor Swift was a country music star who became a pop star. Occasionally there's some crossover, but by and large, I think country music dwells in its own area. Like the Venn diagram doesn't intersect very often.
I don't.
Yeah, they have their own. They have their own music awards. They have their own stars. They have their own history. They have their own Hall of Fame. Like it's sort of like the
They have their own
intersection.
airplay, like radio stations.
That too, right? Like the country music has a huge cadre of fans, but those fans don't often intermingle with other fans in terms of music preferences. And that's cool. Like, everybody likes what they like.
Just like foods.
Yeah. And I don't look down on people who pick certain songs and not other songs to listen to, but other people do.
No one was looking down on you for not liking mushrooms. That's just what
You were looking down on me for picking mushrooms out of my food.
Yes, but that's not the argument that you were making. That's the argument your argument devolved into after you were called a main character.
Not a main character.
You thought that everyone was judging you,
I feel like it was.
but they weren't.
And I don't want to see any more of those NCIS Sydney commercials. I've never rooted for a network TV show not to succeed more than that.
Can we buy
Like, it's so
futures
weird
and
this bothers you.
can we buy futures in NCIS Sydney, Jeff? Is that possible?
The commercials are so annoying. And like my eyes physically hurt watching the upside down commercial.
I don't think one
I had to
commercial
close
is-
my eyes at one point because they were hurting my eyes.
I don't think
That's
it's
for Tim.
registered with me one time.
The ads would come in
was
upside,
upside
down
down.
because it's in Sydney. So
Yeah, like they're down under. So like the ad was completely upside down throughout the whole thing.
I mean, I'm not going to watch NCIS Sydney, but the ad was very effective. I noticed it every single time it was on.
Well, yeah, I would hope that anybody watching TV, even in a cursory way, would notice if the screen was inverted.
Yeah, very effective ad. It's not really saying much about your toughness and your grit that you had to close your eyes because a commercial came on.
Listen, Pilgrim, I know about true grit. Don't ask me any questions about true grit.
You're the only person I've ever met who gets eye triggered.
I'm not triggered. That's not the word to use here at all. I'm not triggered.
It
by
sounds
the show.
like you're triggered.
I just didn't like the ads, don't understand the conceit of the show, and just feel like I want good network TV. I thank God the strike is over. Like, this should have been sweeps week. It's the middle of November, and I don't get the good shows on network TV. I pray that, probably won't be till next fall we get good network TV shows again. I missed them big time this fall, and I can't wait for them to come back.
What were the big network TV shows that you were really into last year?
I think they've pretty much all been canceled.
What were they, though?
There were no big ones I was into, is the thing. I was just watching shows, hoping to get into them.
Well, what
like
was
that experience, I don't, it's funny. I have to look on my PVR if I kept some of them.
So you can't recall a single show, although it's something you're really missing. You can't recall a single one that you watched last year.
It's the process that I enjoy, not so much the shows. Like, occasionally you do stumble into a fantastic show like This Is Us or something. But by and large, it's just the process of watching and trying on new network TV shows to see what will fit and what won't.
This Is Us.
I don't want to get
seems
too
like,
invested.
It seems like a show made directly for you because we all know that you just love a good cry.
I did cry a few times. I did cry a couple of times during that show. I'll admit, I definitely shed a few tears. It was a very like Geoff used to think it was emotional manipulation or something, but I don't agree with that. I think the show was actually a quality, well-written television show, which you don't see very often anymore on network TV.
I may have watched like 30 seconds of it because it seemed so terrible that I didn't want to watch it. But I think that mostly what I've heard is what Geoff said, that it was just pure emotional manipulation. Like, there was nothing good about the show. It was just trying to make you cry.
Well, mission accomplished. I cried.
It did it. All right.
Like, and that's good. Like that means it's affecting television. That's a good thing. That means that if they can develop that level of pathos in the viewer, it means that they've done a very good job conveying a message.
Okay.
Because I'm not easily rattled by stuff, right?
It's
like
easy to
rattles.
kill people, give them cancer, have them die in fires. Like, what a fucking shit show. I wouldn't waste that for a second. Life is hard and sad enough sometimes. Why you want your entertainment to be that dribble?
Did you just hear he said that he's not someone who gets rattled?
No, I'm not someone who gets rattled by what I see on TV very often.
You were just talking about a commercial that made you eye triggered.
No, it made my eyes sore because it hurt my eyes to see the upside down screen. I didn't like that.
If a restaurant had a two can dine thing, you would get incredibly rattled. If it was like in the commercial.
I just think it's hurtful because just because it says two can dine doesn't mean that two people are going to dine. You shouldn't just assume it's going to be 2 people. Maybe it'll be 3. Maybe it'll be 4. Maybe it'll be 1. You don't know. Don't presume you know exactly how many people are going to eat the food.
But that affects you. What
Well,
do
it
you
just
care?
annoys me.
Why does
it
annoy
annoys
you?
me?
It seems like you're pretty.
Because I
rattled
feel
by it.
like I'm being judged.
Why? Because
It's
again,
like
it all
put it this
comes
way.
back
Put
to
it this
you.
way.
You feel like you're being judged. No one's
Geoff
judging
will
you.
understand this.
No one's judging
you. Go
you.
through the drive. Put it like that. If you go through the drive-through at Tim Hortons and you order 2 donuts, and the lady looks at you and said, or the gentleman behind her says, and you want them in the same bag, right? That person is judging you because they think you're going to eat both of those donuts yourself. If they don't ask and put them in separate bags, they don't think you're going to eat both of those donuts. But if they either don't ask and just put them in the same bag or ask if you want them in the same bag, that person has prejudged you as someone who's going to eat both of those donuts. So why would I put them in separate bags?
I feel
now you
bad
tell
for
me
you.
that you tell me you haven't experienced that. Like I find that very hurtful.
I don't
That has
give
happened
a
to me.
flying fuck what the person working at Tim Hortons thinks about anything I'd ever do in my entire freaking life. I'll tell you that right now, and I'm sad for you that you live in a world where you actually give a shit.
Like today, I ordered 2 of the Smile cookies because they're for charity. I
Yeah,
ordered 2 Smile cookies when I got
that's
my
why.
coffee, and they put them both in the same bag when they gave them to me.
Yeah,
Just presuming.
I would like sometimes after we go on Sunday morning or Saturday mornings after we finish like doing what we're doing with the kids, bringing them out, everything like that. We'll bring them to the library, a play date, whatever it might be. We'll go and get donuts, and I'll go through the drive-through and I'll ask for 2 donuts, 1 for each of my kids, and they put them in the same bag. They don't know that I have kids in the car. They just hear me making the order. They put it in. I don't feel like they're judging me.
I don't know. I feel like
I
I have felt judged before.
Well, here's
What do you
the
care what a
here's the
22-year-old
thing.
thinks you're doing with donuts?
But it doesn't matter. They're not judging you. You're judging you.
Yeah, they're taking the next order. They're thinking when they get off work, they do not give a shit how you consume it, man.
But like they're making that decision by putting those donuts or those cookies in the same bag when they see me. It's like,
No,
that
'cause their
guy's eating them
cheap
both.
boss says, "Let's not waste bags." They don't.
I
they're not-
no, I don't think so. I bet you the next person they might ask, you want those in separate bags or something.
You are so.
Because sometimes I get asked that. Sometimes I am asked, you want those in separate bags?
No, I just want them
sometimes
to
I'm
put
not.
that foil paper so my topping my donut doesn't stick to the bag.
And like it's when they don't ask, they just put them in the same bag. They're like, this guy, these donuts aren't making it out of the parking lot.
Oh, it's holiday smile cookies, eh?
Yeah, they do holiday
How
smile cookies
often
this
are
week.
you going to the donut shop and ordering 2 donuts for yourself?
Not often. But if I'm hungry,
It
it's going to be lunch.
It seems that's what you're eating for lunch.
I've done it.
Oh man.
Coffee and a couple of cookies, or coffee and a couple of donuts. I'm not making 2 stops.
Yeah, listen, I'm not proud of it, but there have been way back in a producer days, straight vending machine, can of pop, bag of chips. That was lunch.
That's lunch.
I've been there.
Yeah, that's life. That's just life.
Well, I mean, some of us plan
We
ahead.
don't all have we don't all have our catered lunches like you. Some of us, don't have that.
When did I have a catered lunch?
No, I'm exerting, but not everyone has their.
Hold on.
Not everyone,
What are you exaggerating exactly?
I'm just saying, not everyone has their lunches all pre-prepared, even if they've done it for themselves. Haven't
Which I do.
pre-prepared their lunches for the week. I know you do, but I don't.
You could.
I get tired and I don't
He's
do that.
so
And then
busy. Pat.
You're probably
He's so
tired because
busy.
you're so busy. You're probably coming down from sugar highs from your fucking lunches. I used to,
And then
when Jeff and
I'll
I
go get 2 donuts.
Jeff, when you and I used to work together, I used to have every week I would make 2 extra meals, one for the first 3 days of the week, and then it would be bad. Then I couldn't eat it anymore. So I'd bring it home on the last day with me and eat it for dinner. But I used to have things in the back of the fridge in case I forgot my meal that day that I would have something to eat for lunch until Cam started working with us.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Cam's always on the lookout.
Do you have
Tim,
an
I want to
order?
say I got walking my dog last night. I was startled but happy to see my neighbors Santa Claus popping out of
Did you go up to their front door and hector them?
No, I'm proud. Christmas is allowed. Christmas is allowed. We as a society, we've given Christmas the right. We never as a society agreed Halloween had that right. People just took it upon themselves like savages.
I didn't realize that somebody had died and made you king to decide when people are allowed to.
No one made me
I'm
king.
sorry, no one made
Listen-
Geoff king and no one died. You know who did die? Jesus. And that's why Christmas matters. It's not the anti-Jesus holiday like Halloween, Tim.
And
I mean,
I love Christmas, and I
that's
don't
not
even
quite true.
celebrate it. I love it. I love it. I'm jealous of all parts of it.
I mean, once you're into it, the novelty of Christmas wears off more than you'd think.
What do you mean?
Like there's a grind to Christmas that you don't if you're not celebrating it.
Fucking kids. Fuck off with that nonsense.
Well, I would assume having kids is actually would make Christmas a lot more magical than it otherwise is.
So what's the grind?
It's also far more of a grind when you have kids. There's no grind
I'm
when you
sure-
don't have
oh,
kids. All you need to
I'm
do is
sure
show up to
it's true.
Christmas parties and get wasted.
No,
What
but
grind
like
do you have?
there's
Fucking
gifts.
pocketing, giving
There's
out
gifts to
Subway
buy.
gift cards.
If you don't think I haven't been looking for that commercial, by the way, you're wrong. I'm ready to start buying.
Yeah,
that.
and guess what? I think like a lot of corporate America, Subway's cheaped out on you because now I think it's like $25. You get 6 free cookies. You don't get your free sub anymore, buddy.
If it's 6 free cookies, honestly, that's a pretty decent trade too, and I think those are actually more
How
expensive.
many
than
cookies
6
are you looking to hoard?
Well, it depends.
Whatever,
depends.
they're my cookies.
How many bags are they going to put these cookies in to make you not feel bad?
Well, it's just look. I'm going to make this statement, and I don't care if you agree with me or not. When the person working at the donuts shop puts both your donuts in the same bag, they are telling you without telling you. I believe that this man is going to eat both of these donuts himself, and probably in short order.
Again, you being a main character have to realize this at some point. They don't care about you. Paul.
I got a family pack from Swiss Chalet the other day, and they put 6 packs of like cutlery in there. I wasn't like, oh my god, this person thinks I'm eating all of
Can I
this,
have
which
it?
I did over the next 3 days. I said, sweet, now I've got like plastic cutlery. Awesome.
I love getting plastic cutlery. One of the greatest gifts I ever got was when Pat and his wife sent me all this old plastic cutlery. It was a great gift.
I thought my metal straws were a better gift for you, but sure.
Those were also
don't
excellent.
even use them.
I do use them. That was also an excellent gift. As were the plates that you gave me.
And the pants.
Yes, also an excellent gift.
I'm just
Well,
going.
You
no
have a
wonder
habit
you
of giving.
think
You have a
Subway
habit of
gift
giving
card-
very good gifts.
No wonder you think a Subway gift card's a great gift. You glad hand people that give you plastic forks.
It is a good gift.
It's not.
The gift wasn't
Anyway.
for anything. We just sent it to him.
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. I was very fired up to get it.
We thought
Have
it.
you started decorating?
No, I'm not in the mood yet. I have to be honest with you. It still feels too early. I mean, maybe next week as U.S. Thanksgiving starts to come
You
around.
want to shorten the grind, right? You want to shorten.
Well, I
the
also
grind.
leave it up a little longer after Christmas than I would. Like Halloween, it came down like the day after. I leave it up like till the 6th of January. So
Yeah,
I don't want to do it too early.
That's when he puts up his insurrection stuff.
No.
Commemorating that day.
But so like probably next weekend, I'll probably do the whole thing from the tree all the way to the quote unquote Etsy tables that you say I have, stuff like that.
Well, they can't be Etsy
If
tables.
we're going to a friend's house this weekend to decorate. They always invite my girls over to when they put their tree up.
Well, that's nice.
That will do it
And I like the tree, but it's too early.
on the Pat Mayo Experience. Thank you all for tuning in. Smash the like and sub to the channel while you're here. Do that audio rating and review for me as well. And do it for yourself because you might win $5,000. Who knows? Probably going to win nothing, but you might win $5,000. That would be great. So let's root on Tambo. ShipItNation.com. Code Mayo over there to go get yourself a discount. If you want to, I mean, he's winning money. Maybe you can win money too. Makes sense to me. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.